Hello, everyone, and welcome back to My Summer with Superman. I'm your super host, Jacob DeNoble.
And I'm your other super host, Chris Haley. Can you tell we practiced?
Yeah. And God, we've got a lot of Superman to talk about.
So much good stuff to talk about.
Where do we dive in? Should we let people know what the overall theme is? Or
yeah, absolutely.
I can read the title. We read the Superman script.
We did read the Superman script, and I've got to say, before we start talking about it, which we've got some other stuff I want to get to before we jump into that, got some hot Hollywood gossip that is Superman related, even though it's not at all anything to do with with the movie or with anything James Gunn related. I haven't told
Dean Cain based.
No, thankfully it is not cursed. This is some happy news. But I was going to ask you, since we had, there was a point of discussion previously, and then when we got to which version of the script did you read?
So I read the older version that Gunn took down that Warner Brothers took down after they had posted it to the WGA website. And then whenever I reached something that wasn't from the movie, I would click over to the newer script and compare. Like, I would essentially read a whole sequence from the old script and then compare it to the new script. So I read them both just kind of in chunks, paying attention to the stuff that I recognized as being slightly different. And I've got a lot of interesting changes written down here between the two drafts.
I'm so glad to hear this because I definitely read the one that I thought that I had both of them.
Yeah.
And I thought the one that I had saved specifically to my iPad was the older one.
Mm-hmm.
But then it turns out I could not find anything but the one that I had loaded. And it was the one that has almost nothing in it. It's not it's just exactly the script for what you see on the screen with a bunch of places that say omitted. I'm excited to hear what all is there. I mean, I still have stuff. I have thoughts about, just getting to see some of this written down, and some of it seeing sort of how he described things led to questions where I was like, oh, so that's what he was thinking with this. Or it's I didn't necessarily get that out of, but it's also, we'll get into all of it. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the script, and it was a real treat to read. But before we get into that, I'll just go ahead and get to the Hollywood gossip part.
Yeah, tell me the Hollywood gossip.
Since I've already teased it. So, I guess it was just this week, maybe last week, I don't know. It was finally made official on the red carpet to something. And the thing that I read this on listed them as such as Hallmark, fan favorite Hallmark actors, Brandon Routh and Rachel Lee Cook have made their new relationship official.
Okay.
And to me, that was I could not have I had Rachel Lee Cook was my big celebrity crush.
Yeah.
For so long after She's All That came out. When I was it was that came out at the perfect teenage age for me to be boy, I sure think this is the prettiest girl in the world.
These are two big 2000s comic book movie stars.
Exactly. And and of course, then Josie and the Pussycats is incredible.
Yeah.
And what else do you really need to see from Rachel Lee Cook? Other things. I know she's in plenty of other things. She was in Antitrust. I saw a lot of things just because, she had something to do with them. Texas Rangers. She was in that as well. I always
thought she was in The Replacements, but that's just because the girl in The Replacements has the same hair as she
had
does
that same
Josie
hair
and the Pussycats.
Yeah.
I remember when I saw X-Men 2, my sister came out of the movie. She's like, this movie is going to date so badly because all the women have that haircut. And I remember being like, no, it won't. And now I'm like, oh, man, Aaron Ginobili,
really does.
You got that right on the money. Wow,
yeah. I haven't seen that in so long. That makes me want to watch it tonight just to see the haircuts. I guess that would technically be Hollywood gossip too. I could jump into, but we don't really cover Marvel stuff. Speaking of the X-Men, I saw an interesting Hollywood gossip about Avengers Doomsday involving the X-Men, specifically the Fox X-Men from that period. Anyway, but just Superman and Rachel Lee Cook getting together was like a real like potent moment for me.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, but it was Superman related. We had nice things to say about Brandon Routh, and I was just like, oh, something good for him. I'm happy to spread that news.
And even if we just want to think of him as Superman from the CW verse, you know?
Yes. Yeah. And now that after he, instead of veering off into Kingdom Come territory, instead he married Rachel Lee Cook. I don't think they got married. I think they just have and they've been dating for a while, according to this, but they hadn't made it official until this.
Was it like Facebook official?
That was like they were at some premiere, out on the red carpet together.
Yeah.
For something. I can't remember what. None of that was important to me. It was just I can't believe this is happening.
I have some comic collection news for you.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear about it.
They have now announced Superman Triangle Era Volume 3.
Oh, hell yeah.
Reign of the Superman and post-Reign. We get Hunter Prey. We get...
Ooh.
Yeah, it's gonna be going all through the post-return of Superman.
Did I tell you about my idea for... how I was like, oh, maybe that'll be my new sort of collecting thing, because I haven't had a collecting thing that I have been wanting to do in I don't know how long, probably since the advent, other than random single issues of things.
Yeah.
But basically since the advent of Comixology, the idea of and having moved several times since then, going oh my God, lugging all these comics around. But I've thought about going, what if I just got every Superman post Man of Steel, post 1986, up until whenever I decide I'm sick of it, up until it gets to the point where I'm going okay, this doesn't have the same nostalgic feel for me. It'd be an arbitrary stopping point, I'm sure, but
it's the perfect thing to collect because it's dollar box fodder,
Yes, exactly.
I only ever collect things I can find in dollar boxes.
Well, it's after that comic show last year that I did, and I showed you all those Superman back issues I got, many of which I already have probably more than once, but I didn't have access to them right at that second. And they weren't only, probably less than $1. Some of them, I think some of them were dollar bins, some of them were quarter bins. But I was just going, and the fact that we talked about that some of these collections have got or the online DC Universe Infinite and stuff have these issues missing. Yeah. It's maybe that would be a fun one to do, because it's but I love the idea of kind of having it all together in in these omnibuses like this, because technically doesn't that first Triangle one doesn't it start a little bit before the Triangles actually start, or does it start right at the Triangles?
It starts right at the Triangles, but they've made a gap omnibus to go between Exile, which starts right at the end of the Byrne era. Byrne ends, and then you have Exile. Yeah. It goes for 40 issues or whatever, and then there's a omnibus level gap between when the Triangle starts, and that comes out this June.
Okay. And that one's called something to do with Brainiac?
Brainiac attacks or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they have the Triangle Volume 1. Volume 2 goes up through Death and Funeral for a Friend, I think.
Does it really?
Yeah. And then Volume 3 will be Reign, Return, and then some post stuff.
It's crazy to think that all of that fits. All of that stuff fits in 3 omnibuses or something.
Yeah. And it's what's even crazy, I mean, I guess it's 5 if you're counting the whole post Byrne.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying even just literally from the start of the Triangle era, that's it seems like it should be much a much bigger number of issues.
And then that's also 4 issues a month,
yeah.
When you think about just the amount of time, 86 to 96 is just such a small window. I just compare it to the X-Men omnibuses, where you're oh yeah, here's 5 omnibuses. That takes you from 70s to the 90s. And you're yeah, that makes sense. But because Superman was coming out so fucking often.
Yeah. Man. Well, interesting. Well, I had not heard about that, I don't think, so I'm excited to hear that. I still have not gotten, I've just been like off of getting big collections of things like that as like a preferred reading thing, unless it was something that I could only get that way.
Yeah.
You know, like I got those two big Marvel versus DC and amalgam omnibuses because I was like, we might never be able to get this again. So stupid of me. But I was just like, I need this. I was like, I don't care. I know that this is not normally what I do, but even though
I like
it used
it
to be
because
what
it's
I would
a
do.
one-time purchase. Because like a lot of times if I buy a volume, I'll never get around to getting the rest of the volume. But if I get a big chunk, I'm like, all right, I got the big chunk now.
Well, the thing to me is just that I'm going like, this is not my preferred way to try to read these, because it's like part of it is just the expense of it makes me go, I mean, I'm like super careful with stuff, like borderline obsessively careful with all of my collectibles. Like, but with something like that where I was going like, oh, this was already expensive, and so I have to be doubly careful with it, and like I can't just sit wherever and read this. I have to like get in a spot where all the kinds of nerd things that one could force themselves to do to instead of just enjoying a thing. But so I don't know, but I do like the idea of having them in a big thing where it's like, oh, it's all right here.
Yeah,
it's all right here for me.
You know what I love to do? Binders, baby.
Yeah.
Get the single issues, throwing them in some binders. Put a little.
I've started
Superman
putting
logo.
some stuff together or organizing some things at the house, not in binders yet, but in like doing some things that were more akin to that. After seeing how much I liked the way you have that set up, but that's everything is another task to complete.
Yeah. my one single issue collecting that's going on right now is trying to get every Daredevil. Get all the Daredevil. So I got 20 issues
dangerously
from
close.
69. Nice. 69 issues away from.
I was hoping
everything.
You would say that. Yeah.
But yeah, so I got 20 like Silver Age issues for $100 on eBay, which I had like 6 of them already.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, all right, well, if I sell these 6 with like a couple other I have laying around, I'm like, I think I could probably recoup that down to like $60 maybe. I'm like $60 for 16 Silver Age issues. And so like I've been reading them upstairs because I only get reader copies because like I said, I'm a $1 kind of person, but I'm like, I'm reading through, man, it's like I'm reading through issue 9 and it's just like seeing Wally Wood art on a 60-year-old piece of paper. It's just so fucking good, man. Like,
it hits different.
It does. It hits so different. It's, man, I'm just loving it.
I got pulled down a rabbit hole of discourse about speaking of that kind of thing, of like the recolorings of Silver Age stuff for modern collections, and like just a whole thing, showing comparisons of like going, this is what a scan of that page looks like, and this is what the volume, the version in the the omnibus volume or the whatever, like, and just seeing like how different a tale it tells on some of these when you've got the pages like right next to each other like that. And it's I don't know what the solution is. I mean, and it also I don't feel bad about that, since there were people like people who color comics for a living, who were also in these discussions and like also not having an answer for it. So I'm like, it's not my thing to come up with an answer for it, but man, there's got to be a better somehow there's got to be a better way. Do
we want to talk DCKO?
Oh my Lord, yes. So, well, speaking of disappointing comic things.
Speaking of gotta be a better way.
All right, so here's the deal. This I texted you about this like the day that the issue came out. I was like, we have to do an episode, if only to talk about this. And I don't want to spoil the entire DCKO. I mean,
I don't know if it's even spoilerable for somebody who doesn't care enough to have read it.
But it's like I saw that DC put up a bunch of previews today for stuff that's coming out soonish, and one of them was for, I think, the new Justice League of America book, or no, Justice League Unlimited. I mean, like the new issue of that's coming up. Yeah. And there's literally a part in it, and it's just like 2 panels in these 2 preview pages where it's like 2 people from the Justice League are like up in the watchtower, and they're looking at something that's, they're watching the monitors of what's happening on Earth, and they're like, whoa, check this out. And then one panel of seeing things sort of like changing. They're like, everything on Earth is going back to exactly like it was before all the apocalypse destruction. And it's like, yeah, we all know that none of it, like this is my problem with the whole thing. It's like the concept is like a fun concept. It's not like I love a good, big, goofy concept.
Yeah.
It's all about execution. And the problem with this thing was, to me, I mean, I thought the art was great. There was, this all falls down. And no, I'm not like trying to say that someone is a bad writer. And also, if you disagree with me, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm saying this is how it felt for me.
Yeah.
I don't think that the people that listen to this are the kind of people that I would have to argue with and explain these kinds of things to. But it's like the discourse that I see online, on League of Comic Geeks, the reviews that people post under issues when I'm like,
you actually read the reviews?
Read.
Oh, you log
I mean, sometimes
too?
I'm just like,
oh
yeah,
I didn't know that. I only log my collection. I have to. So.
Oh no! Because I'm so like, so my buddy Matt, who we'll be talking about in a minute, my buddy Matt showed me once how like every comic he reads, he's got like a like a notes app, or I mean like an open note in his phone where he does like everything he reads and just like his thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And I was going like, oh, that's a great idea, just to kind of like keep up with what you've read this year. Like you can kind of like refer back to stuff to like see where you left off, or like what you thought of stuff, to kind of like remind yourself. I was like, that's a great idea. And I had started doing that like in just like a little, a note on my phone. But then when I got League of Comic Geeks, whenever they put their app out or whatever I found out about their app, I was like, oh, I can just, as I read stuff, I'll just do it like this, because it gives you like a timeline of like, oh, that's right, I read this, and it's, I remember when I read all of these that day or whatever. And just nice little organizer. And sometimes I put thoughts, but a lot of times I don't, because I see the cretinous thoughts that people leave on some of these comics. The big thing, usually when I read the reviews is, sorry, cretins, I don't mean to call you out, but
sorry, cretins.
But the like when I and I usually, if I have an opinion, I'll score, it's star rating on there.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I just do the star ratings to kind of remind myself what I thought of it.
Yeah.
Because I go like, if I look back on something and it's like the score was really high, I'm like, oh, I must really like that. Well, let me remember what I liked about that. Or if it's like really low, I usually I have no problem remembering what I didn't like about something, which says something about my brain, but or the way we're sort of programmed to think about things, or maybe just that bad stuff sticks out more sometimes. I don't know. Look, what am I trying to get into? The point is, what was I trying to get into? What was the point of all this? Oh, I read
DCKO.
Thank you. I start reading reviews when it's like what I score it and what it says, like the average score is, when there's like a huge disparity between those. Sometimes I'm like, okay, what are the people that like this saying about it? Or what are the people that dislike this when I thought it was great saying about it? So that's usually when I read people's thoughts. So it's like I'm primed to think people's reviews are bad, because I'm usually only looking at it when it seems like the consensus disagrees with me.
Yeah.
Because when the consensus agrees with if it's in that same range, I'm like, well, we know this is great.
Yeah.
But DCKO, so it's if you care about this being spoiled or anything like that, you probably already know what's going on with it. So we don't have to really explain it.
Yeah.
But it's the thing where you don't have to have like every time one of these events is just, oh no, this is even bigger than, like, you can't even imagine how much this is everything is going to be destroyed on a the entire planet's going to be destroyed. The entire solar system's going to, no, this time the entire solar system's going to be destroyed. No, this time the entire galaxy is going to be destroyed. No, this time the entire universe is going to be destroyed. No, this time the entire multiverse is going to be destroyed. And then they're like, we haven't thought of anything bigger than that.
Yeah.
Like, and so much stuff lately has been so, multiverse based, because it's basically as big as they can think of.
Yep.
No one's, if we could think of something, we could make a fortune selling the idea of something bigger than the multiverse to one of the big two comic companies, if we could come up with something. But I think the next thing they'll have to be like, no, if the good guys don't win in this comic,
we're going to kill you.
We're going to start killing people in the real world. We're going to blow up a building in the real world. That's the only thing I think is next. And we have already copywritten that idea by saying it on this podcast.
To the big two.
Yeah. So by the time this goes up, we will have already sold this to Marvel or DC1 and we'll be on our way to
world famous terrorists.
But anyway, so it's like that it's just like, so, oh my God, everything's going to be completely destroyed forwards and backwards in time and all. Oh, that's the thing they added after the multiverse. It's not just that it changes all throughout time and blah, blah, and all that stuff. And I'm like, you don't have to keep making it bigger for it to seem interesting. It's like, if you could put a little bit more time into, I don't know. I don't even know how you would like make some of this stuff. I mean, it's just basically when there's very little. I mean, and the thing's called DCKO, so it's like, this the whole gimmick of it is that it's just a fight. But then it's like the fights are so underwhelming because so many of the fights are just like so like you don't. It's like beautiful art showcasing something while there's almost like constant narration throughout it, where it's like it sort of feels like there's not enough. Like the art can't be trusted to tell the story, which I always like. That I don't care for that in comics regardless of what time period it's from, because I hate that in Silver Age stuff when the pictures are perfectly telling the story and you've got somebody putting in text boxes on top of it describing what I'm seeing. I'm not a fan of that.
I'm a little bit the opposite, but that's okay.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, it can be done in a way that I do enjoy, but like, I'm like, yeah, Stan, he already drew it. I can see exactly what's happening. Like, you don't have to tell me what you acted like, what you're pretending you told him to draw.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't like it when it feels like with current comics where they leave the text boxes to gloss over all the stuff they're not showing you. Yep. Because they're like, oh, look at this big cool splash page, and oh, look at the aura. Like literally, I saw so many people commenting on that last issue of DCKO and this one particular part that I'm going to talk about, and like people going like, oh, the aura's off the charts. Oh, look at Superman aura farming. He just all, and I'm like, look, it's not about that terminology. It's not about the slang of the day bothering me.
It's a little bit about that for me.
Well, to me, it's not about the slang is not what bothers me. It's that people think that some of these things pass for like a story or like there's a difference in like a cool drawing and like an incredible, memorable moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like this may be a really cool splash page, but it's like it not necessarily. It doesn't mean just because like the guy drew it good doesn't mean that it like is cool within the context of the story. I was okay. So look,
tell me your big thing that you texted me, because I agree with you 100. I can't believe they missed this opportunity.
So
I don't even know what they're going for, honestly.
There's a part in the last issue of DCKO, and this whole thing has been going like, of course, everyone's expecting Superman to be the person that wins this tournament because he's Superman.
Yeah.
And we all know what goes along. If you're listening to this, you know exactly why. Of course, Superman's going to win this tournament. And the gimmick of this, the premise of this thing is there's a tournament that the Heart of Apocalypse is suddenly the only way it will accept someone as its new, person to join with and rewrite the universe in the way that they want it is you have to win a tournament of 16. Like, it's just a normal bracket. This thing from beyond time and space demands that you have a 32 team bracket, just so we can make brackets at the comic shop. So, people can write in there, that it's just like March Madness or something of who their favorites are. I don't hate the idea of it, but it's like the idea that this thing called the Heart of Apocalypse is making them do this. And there's all these rounds and rules and tag teams. And it's just all this stuff that is this is supposed to be this thing from space and but it's still wanting to just do a normal bracket tournament with all these rules and stuff that's just feels very, I don't know. I'm just, this feels like it's demoralizing thinking about this. And it's not that I don't like the goofiness of the idea. It's just, but then when it's also treated so super serious, end of the world, look at how serious and everything this is and all the whatever. And then it's the concept is something as goofy as we're going to have a Street Fighter tournament.
Well, it's so weird to me because, and this is a run that I like, but a lot of people did not at the time. This is almost beat for beat Jason Aaron's Avengers. They have a big tournament to see who gets the Phoenix power. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay, so
I believe you. I believe you, but
it's right in the middle of the Jason Aaron run, and
on Avengers.
On Avengers, and it's
okay,
but it's not an event, and it's 4 issues of all of the Avengers have to have a Street Fighter bracket tournament to see whoever wins gets to be the Phoenix. And
this is funny because I've read a bunch of Jason Aaron's Avengers and I do not remember this at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's how
I have not read this. Okay. It's not like I'm just forgetting it. I know I have not read this, but so it must be a gap in the middle that I did not read because I read the end of it. I know I read the start of it and I know I read the end of it for quite a bit at the back end.
And when you're not fighting, you get put into this bubble of a waiting room, a lobby of but it's very much that Jason Aaron-y this is a stupid idea, let's take it to its logical extreme and just have fun. It's how Echo became the Phoenix. I don't know if you know Echo is the Phoenix or was the Phoenix at some point.
I think I did know that because Echo shows up later in the run as the Phoenix or something. I did not care for the start of the run, but then I ended up liking the back end of it. Yeah. Even though it was but anyway, that's getting into a whole other thing.
But it's the same, let's just do a fun tournament fight. And when this was that, I enjoyed it. When DCKO was, let's do, you and your friends are at home, we're playing whatever that DC Mortal Kombat game is.
Injustice.
Well, it's not that because Injustice has all the weird shit attached to it, but
you're talking about just Marvel versus DC, or Mortal Kombat versus DC universe.
But when this is pitched at that level, the second issue where it's everybody's got to go get a special object and go find it, and it's that kind of stuff I really responded to, where it's this is the first DC event I have read in God knows how long, because it was the first one that going into it, I felt had a digestible premise. A lot of times I hear about a DC event and it's so bogged down, and every DC event for some reason has to be Crisis on Infinite Earths. It always has to be about the nature of reality and continuity needs to be involved. And I'm just can you just tell a story about these characters in the world they live? Why do I need a metatextual
Well, I mean, so was this
thing? Well,
there's all of that problem in this one too, and
for 4 issues, I could at least skim over that shit and get Like, oh, all right, I understand the direct goal right now is, okay, you've got to beat up the absolute character. Sure, that's fun, whatever.
Yeah.
But then issue 5 comes down with what I said was like DC eventitis, where it's like all of a sudden we're at Crisis on Infinite Earths, where it's like, oh, it's about rewriting reality and we're going to change continuity with it. And I'm just like, I don't give a shit about any of, like, tell a story.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they were talking about doing all of that stuff. Like, the whole point of this was, it's like to fix things from how Darkseid has poisoned everything.
Yeah, but it feels that concept is a back door to like sneak in continuity fixes that they want to make. You know, like,
yeah, I mean, but that's what the whole thing has been.
But like, if you were to tell me this story is like, oh, we just need to put the universe back. Like, whoever wins gets to, you know, undo whatever whatever Darkseid did, and it'll just be back to normal. Like, that's at least that's a digestible story. Or like, oh, maybe
sure.
Superman, maybe tell a story about how Superman, you know, made the world. He accidentally made something bad. I don't know. He tried too hard. I don't know if I want to read that, but like,
yeah.
Tell me a narrative that does not have a metatextual layer, because like at a certain point, I don't really give a shit about the DC metatextual stuff. I just want stories about these characters in the world at the level at which they're experiencing it.
Yeah. Well, and then sometimes it's hard to, like, every time they do this, they make it harder to care about that stuff, because we know, like, the time between when the things are going to get reset or, you know, messed with gets shorter with each progressive one. But anyway, the point is, we get to the last issue, and I mean, look, we could keep talking about this, but we got a lot of other cool stuff to talk about that I would rather talk about than this thing that makes me mad. But I do have to get this one part out, which is, there's a point in this where it seems like, because like a bunch of bad guys snuck in, also that it's like the rules of this cosmic tournament just let other people jump in somehow. Like, it's not like, no, we picked these specific people, what the cosmic entity thing that we're talking to, or whatever, you know, like whatever's handling the rules, whatever's enforcing the rules, these are the people. You can't just let these other people, you know, it's like, I couldn't just run out onto the Super Bowl and be like, now I'm playing. I couldn't shoot the quarterback at the Super Bowl and then go, now I'm the team leader.
Have you tried?
Well, all right. We know what's coming up for the next Super Bowl.
If you don't buy this event comic, Chris Haley's going to shoot the quarterback of the Jets.
But anyway, so because of that, you know, the Joker gets in, and Lex Luthor gets in, and which, I mean, is fine, but just to have it be like, have the cosmic entity thing just pick the people, instead of letting it be that, like, these people decide they're going to try to do it, and then suddenly people just show up. Like, you know, or maybe that would be too close to like the Beyonder just picking a bunch of people for Secret Wars. Whatever. I mean, everything's been done before, but the point is, Lex Luthor has snuck into this, and he somehow, whatever he does to be, where it seems like it's going to be him versus Darkseid. You think it's going to be he beat Superman, and now, because none of these specifics even matter, but it's like, but then, do you think that they matter?
No, not at all. I was just gonna say, like, because I have not read like so much of the like multiverse, like all of the like big picture DC stuff, I end up feeling so lost, because I'm just like, all right, like, I can pick up on context clues, like what's going on with Booster Gold and stuff, but like, at the end of the day, sometimes, like, I'm reading this 5th issue and I'm just like, I don't have any goddamn, like, I have seen Doomsday Time Trapper so many times because I've read this Josh Williamson run on Superman. I still don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. Why Doomsday is the Time Trapper now.
Yeah.
I don't really. And like, I'm fine to go with it, but at a certain point, I wanted to, I don't know, be coherent.
Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, the part that got me was there's this thing, and all right, here we go. It's the last issue. This is going to be the big fight. Now it's going to be between Lex Luthor and Darkseid, and Lex Luthor's got the Heart of Apocalypse or whatever, and Darkseid's this big cosmic, even more souped up evil version of himself or whatever. And we get to this page where it seems like the fight's about to go down between them, and something starts going wrong with Lex. He's like, no, and and it's doing a thing where it's like, but of course, I'm sure that the narration in it is like, but of course it couldn't be Lex, it couldn't be Lex or whatever. Yeah. And this is a page set up for a page turn reveal. That's like, and when I realized that that's what this page is doing, and of course what it's about to reveal, I was like, oh my god, please, literally out loud reading this thing.
Yeah.
I just started going, oh my god, they're going to do it. And I was like, because it gets to this thing and Lex is like, disappearing or whatever it is. It doesn't even matter. But like you realize, and you hear someone say from like off screen, it says something like, I don't think he actually says, he says there's only one thing to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've never had a better setup with what's happening for this whole big event. This thing is going to be very red. I've never seen a better setup for this in my life, where and I was literally just sitting there out loud going, please. I was like, I will take back every complaint about this entire event. This will save the entire event for me if this one thing happens. And I was like, you will never see a setup this good for it again. And I was like, he's going to say, there's only one thing to say. And then I'm going to turn the page and it's going to be this glorious reveal. And it's of Superman saying, this looks like a job for Superman. Or something like, sorry, Lex, this looks like a job for Superman. That would have been the best thing ever. That would have been such and the page, the reveal, the art is great. But instead, you turn the page and there's the reveal of Superman. And what he says is ding, ding, as in ring the bell for the, to start the fight. And I was like, I'm not joking. I am not exaggerating. I was so excited with the prospect of this happening. Like, I was so filled. I had a moment of just utterly that this comic was filling me with like hope of like good. Like I was almost like I was emotional. Like going, please, come on. This will save this whole thing. This will make this all worth it. If I turn the page and it's Superman, because I don't know yet. I assume it's about to be Superman, of course. But like, and I was like, if now suddenly it's him saying, sorry, Lex, this looks like a job for Superman. Like,
man,
like
it's so good.
The fireworks would have gone off everywhere. Like it just, and then all the rest of the issue could play out exactly the same. And I would be like this, because I would have just been hearing that Superman music for the Superman march for the rest of the issue. Like would have been so perfect as then him and Darkseid go into this fight where he's beating Darkseid. It's like, you will never have a better opportunity to say, this looks like a job for Superman. I've never seen a better opportunity for that in a comic in my life. And they didn't do that. I was just like,
I
negative 20 stars.
I'll be honest. I think because I saw your post first, that when I got to it in the comic, I was like, I don't even know if I understand why he's saying ding ding at first. I'm just like, because it just took a second for me to like connect. Like your pitch was so good. I'm like, ding ding. Like, are you saying you're right? What is ding? I feel like I'm gonna start saying ding ding now because of this stupid moment.
It was like I've never felt more right.
Yeah.
I don't think of it. I was just like, this would have been the better thing to do. And I normally don't, I think I try not. I know how hard it is to try to make a comic. I know how hard writing is. And I try not to, like, if I can help it, if I'm on my good behavior, if I'm not at a upset point, or if there's not something else bothering me, I usually try to not be like negative about other people's stuff, even if I don't like it too much. because I go like, yeah, but it's like, I know this is still a lot of hard work. This was still blah, blah, whatever. And I don't try to like Monday morning quarterback stuff, and be like, they should have done this. They should have blah, blah. I mean, even though I know I do that, but I try not to do
this though.
But this, I got no problem saying they should have done this.
Well, it's so interesting. Like, because I'm thinking now about like, all right, well, what does it mean to be a comic about comics? Which is usually like my problem with DC events. They're so like comics about continuity, about fixing, and I'm like,
this is so interesting to me.
Death of Superman is a comic about comics. Like,
but that was the thing that I never put together. Like, I didn't put that. There's like you saying that some of that stuff, like you just like skim over it when you're reading these now. There's like, when you say that about like, even though like about with these DC events, even though I know that is in that is part of it. That's like, it's never been a thing that like was like an issue in my mind when I was reading those events.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it's just because I've been more of a DC person.
Yeah. It just always feels, and this is, I guess, the Marvel guy in me, it feels Roy Thomas-y in a way. And I just hate Roy Thomas. Where it just feels like some fucking nerd is like, I want it to be the way that I remember it. And how can I make a story that's like about making it that way instead of just doing the damn thing?
Interesting.
But like, so what I'm saying is like with Death of Superman, that is a story about like how the world does perceive Superman in the 90s. We talk like, especially like, with Superboy, it's like, oh, people like these darker characters, but that metatextual level is not in the text of the story. Those are themes that the story is about, but not necessarily like explicitly in a way that like, and again, I'm speaking a little out of turn here because I have not read a lot of these like I haven't read Metal or like, but I always feel like whenever I see a DC event, I have no idea what the fuck I'm even supposed to be excited about.
Have you read Crisis on Infinite Earths?
I've read Crisis on Infinite Earths. I like it's good enough. I like.
Have you read Final Crisis?
Yeah, that one's great. Okay. And like,
well, those are the only ones you need.
Those are good versions of it, but like, even bad Marvel events are constrained within the world in which the story is told. Like, One World Under Doom was very like it lasted way too long. It lost speed almost instantly. And like, yes, there is a metatextual level of like, oh, what do you do when the country you live in is being ruled by a horrible person and like people seem to love him for some weird reason? It's like, okay, yeah, I see the little Trump analog there, but like, you say,
whoa, what?
What's this story about? And it's like, Doom is in charge of the world because he's Sorcerer Supreme. And I go, okay, great. That's a story I understand. Blood Hunt. Vampires are everywhere. Okay, great. That's all. Like, what is Metal? What was Metal about?
Good question.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
not like I'm trying
absolute to Batman, I'll say.
Each new ridiculous issue it has such a charm in its its ridiculosity.
Honestly, the thing that kept me away from the Absolute books for a minute was that they were being tied into this, like they had to have a reason for being, like continuity wise, and like I didn't like that about the new Marvel Ultimate stuff either. It's like, I don't need a story for why there's a universe where these stories are happening. Like, I don't know, just to say, hey, what if Batman was poor? Here's a comic book about it. Why did like?
Interesting.
I don't know. Why
you guys can't see me sitting here like
do shit.
You guys can't see me here looking at Jacob and nodding and thinking about what he's saying. That's the problem. Is like sometimes you give me stuff to think about on here that I'm going like, well, we'd have to sit here in silence for 20 minutes while I like really ponder over this for me to have something intelligent to say about it. But it's also why I like talking to you, is because you force me to think about things in a very different way. Well, I mean, in some stuff, I think we're pretty on the same page, but
yeah. And like, I think we're kind of aligned with this.
Well, I don't think we're like in opposition, but I do think that we are viewing these things through different lenses of like what does and doesn't bother us, or like what are our own things that we're not a fan of. Or anyway, that part was just such a perfect Superman moment that they could have had and then didn't.
Yeah.
And
it was
so disappointing.
This is a DC related thing that I've been reading, and I think is going to make a lot of people...
re-edit that page, just re-letter it to have him say that, and then put that up on the internet and go here. And if anyone wants to just
put it in the collected edition,
I'll do this one gratis. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
I am sure a bunch of DC fans are going to scream when I say this about what I've recently been reading and getting really into Hawkman.
Are you reading that Brian Hitch run?
No.
Or are you doing old Hawkman?
So I saw somebody talking about Hawkworld the other day, and I read Hawkworld, and I was like, fuck, that's really good.
Is that Tim Truman?
I think so. It's that like 3-issue post-crisis,
like a prestige miniseries thing.
Yeah, Tim Truman. And it was like, it was part of the post-crisis, like, here are the new origins of folks. But then it got all confused because people were making Hawkman. Hawkman was already showing up. And they made it. And again, I'm just like, if you like this Hawkman, like, just make more comics. Like, it doesn't matter if it doesn't line. I don't like when people try and make all the pieces fit. And this is why Mark Waid will never be on this podcast. I look at that history of the DC Universe book, and I'm just like, fuck, that is not for me. I do not want any of this to line up or make sense. I don't care.
Man, well, it's like, but you have to admit or know that like that you are certainly in the minority for like what usually comic nerds are like, as far as like wanting all this stuff, needing these answers, which is, I mean, the culture that has created this industry or gotten this industry to the point it's in are because of, how, concerned with continuity nerds are. Comic nerds
they're ruining it for the rest of us. But so I read Hawkworld, which great. Have you read Hawkworld?
I have not.
Maybe a million years. It's cool.
No, I don't think I've ever even. I've seen. I remember that Tim Truman art. Yeah, but that's as much as I've got on it.
Well, so after I finished it, I was like, oh, maybe I'll read the Hawkworld series. I hear it's not as good, but I love John Ostrander. And so I went to it, and like page 1, I'm like, this art is just not doing it for me the way that Tim Truman's art was. So I was like, all right. So then
I'm out.
I'm on DC Infinite, and I've been reading just a bunch of Brave and the Bold.
Okay.
I'm like, let me just read a bunch of DC team ups. And like while I'm in there, I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll read the first couple of Justice League appearances. Why not? They're here.
What else are you gonna do?
And then I see that there's 3 Hawkman stories, and I'm like, all right. You know what? I loved Hawkworld. Let's read some Silver Age Hawkman. Have you read Silver Age Hawkman?
I'm sure I have some, but I was like, nothing that like, sticks in my memory big, or I've got one of those, the phone book Hawkman showcase or something like that. I'm sure I've got something like that. There was a point where I was buying every one of those.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is such a good value. This is so much comics. I can't pass it up.
Yeah. I mean, so my Hawkman and Hawkgirl knowledge is, I know the basics. I know that there's, the Golden Age version. I know the Silver Age. They just made them aliens for no good reason. Yada, yada, yada. So I'm reading the Silver Age one, and I'm just like flabbergasted by all the things I didn't know about Hawkman.
Okay.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl come from their Hawk world to Earth, chasing a criminal, because he can turn into any animal. Which I'm like, all right, sure. And they're like, all right, we're cops. Let's find an Earth cop. They go to a commissioner saying like, hey, we're chasing down this criminal from our planet. And the commissioner is like so chill about it. He's like, okay, no problem. He's like, all right, and they're like, we're afraid he's going to see us. Can we start dressing like humans? And he's like, hey, my friend just is retiring from the museum as a museum curator. Y'all want that job? And they're like, you're in luck. We actually shot Earth with a ray that taught us every Earth fact there is. So we'll be great at being museum curators.
Boy, that's handy.
Again, I don't know how much of this is common knowledge. I can't imagine there's a lot of Hawkman that's common knowledge, but I'm just like, every page I'm turning, I'm just like so excited and so interested in this. And like the first three, see, I always, Hawkman has a mace. That's a thing that I know. Hawkgirl has a mace. In the first 3 issues I read, every issue they take a different old weapon from the museum.
Oh, cool.
To fight people. And so one of them is a mace. But it's just because it's just they're like, hey, this time we should use this thing. I'm just like, I didn't know this. This is great. So I'm getting really into Hawkman. That's the long and short of it. Joe Kubert art. I didn't even know Joe Kubert.
Yeah. I do remember that. That's one of those Earth Ray facts that I remember.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that because it's like when that recent, I don't think it's still happening, but there was Brian Hitch was did a run on Hawkman, and it was coming out like very on schedule. Yeah. And it was like, there was a point where it's like enough, it had been like 7 to 10 issues had all come out. And I was like, and they've all got Brian Hitch art. And it's been, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll check this out. And I sat there and I think I read like a bunch of them, in a row and went up to, at some point, wherever it ran out on DC Universe Infinite. I think at that point, and I was just like, this is fairly interesting. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
And Hawkman's never been a character that I've had much of a connection with. I mean, I liked his action figure with the big flappy wings when I was a kid. And I mean, it's a cool design. He's certainly always a character I feel like I'm familiar with and known about, despite not really knowing much beyond what would be like on the back of his trading card.
Read Hawkworld for me. It's like a 2000 AD story.
Yeah. That's
Hawkman.
A great way. Just I wouldn't have thought of that on my own, but you saying that, I was like, that's exactly what it feels like it looks like, especially in that time period.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I'd be happy to.
I also finished Rom.
Now that's an easier sell.
Man, you got to go back and read all of Rom. It's so fucking good. It's like the first. This is going to be a weird, bold statement. It is almost like it's maybe immediately after Secret Wars, but like it is one of the first big Marvel crossover moments when all of the superheroes on Earth team up to fight the Dire Wraiths in like the big climax of the Dire Wraith War. And they're all drawn by Steve Ditko and P. Craig Russell inking.
Whoa. When
so that's
like,
issue.
When was this in our world? What year was this?
This is like 86. It's between Secret Wars 1 and 2 because there's a Secret Wars 2 tie-in that happens after the Wraith War is over.
Okay. Interesting.
But it's like you see everybody. You see the X-Men are like, hey, Forge becomes like a main character for 3 issues. I'm just like,
wow.
I'm putting together a blog piece about like all of the like major Marvel comics continuity moments that happen in ROM that I think people just forgot about because they couldn't reprint ROM.
Right.
Nova ends in ROM. Like, because you know how like 70s Marvel was always just like, oh, if a book gets canceled, we have to wrap it up in whatever book we can find.
Yeah.
And so Nova gets canceled and like Nova like loses his powers and gets to come back to Earth in an issue of ROM because they're like, we gotta wrap up Nova's story.
But see, this is the kind of continuity stuff that you're talking about. I mean, like having that kind of, you're liking it when it's happening in ROM, where it's having this kind of
because
like
it's like
continuity
it's an actual,
matters.
It's a story there, like, you know, it's
that's
like,
true. That's true.
You know, we're not like, oh, I want to like put all the toys back in the. It's like, okay, well, we had this guy floating around. Well, I guess that maybe it is putting the toys back in the box.
Yeah, no, but I think the difference is like it's not a difference of. I don't think it's even necessarily a difference of opinion. It's more of it's like that we're having a different way of that. It's like that it reads to us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like you see it like as one way, and I go, oh yeah, I understand what you're saying there. But it's like I know that it's like you're saying stuff, and I'm going like, oh, I didn't even think about it like that when I was reading it. I was thinking about it like this. And it didn't bother me, but it's like I like the idea of them going, hey, we care enough about these characters to where it's like, and we know that there's someone out there who Nova is their favorite character.
Yeah,
and they're getting letters that are like, I sure would love to know what happened to Nova. You know, and even
like,
if
when
like
you only
one
are
editor
20 comics,
yeah,
like, you know, you can trust that like the Nova fan will find Nova in ROM.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah,
of the idea of something of like when comics were like, we care about all these characters. We know that there's some reader out there that cares about all these characters, and our main reason for making these comics is because we make and publish comics, and that's like our whole thing. We're not worried about all this other stuff that has to be a concern for the corporate entities known as DC and Marvel Comics now.
Yeah. You want to know another crazy thing that happens in ROM that is like hugely important to the Marvel universe that nobody ever talks about?
Okay.
Do you know why Rogue starts to turn good after being in the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants?
No.
Because she fucking kisses Rom and sucks some of his goodness out. And the caption is like, for the first time ever, a flutter of goodness like awakens in her heart.
Wow.
It's either her second or third appearance ever.
Holy moly.
And it's in ROM. And it's like she kisses Rom
Why is
and
she
like
in
sucks
ROM?
out some of it. Because the X-Men and the Brotherhood of one of Rom's like main villains is a mutant wraith hybrid.
Okay.
And so the X-Men show up to fight him a bunch of times. The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants show up to fight him. And like,
all right.
Yeah, so Rogue's there, and there's
I was just saying, you're saying it's, I couldn't remember it, like, because in that first appearance, her first appearance is like an Avengers Annual.
Yeah.
I think. It's like Avengers Annual number 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, does she like join the X-Men by the end of that?
No. She's
okay, I didn't think so.
She's still in the Brotherhood there. And then she like makes an appearance in ROM. She makes an appearance in like probably Ms. Marvel or something Claremont was writing. And then like her next appearance is like showing up at the mansion like, hey, I'm having a hard time of it. And like, you know, everybody's like, we don't want to let you in. You're a villain. And Professor X is like, we should give her a chance. And the reason that she's like, hey, the reason I want to be good is because I kissed a space knight and sucked out some of his goodness.
Is that how they phrased it?
There's also a sequel to Life Death in ROM. Like, you know how Forge made that gun that stole Storm's powers? So the government goes to Forge and is like, hey, can you make a gun that will suck out Wraith powers? And he and like Rom team up. He's like, I just sucked out somebody important's powers. I don't want to do that anymore. And Rom's like, don't worry, I won't let your gun get into anybody else's hand. And so like Forge is just hanging out, making weapons. It's nuts. Read Rom is all I'm trying to say. Because the Wraith War ends.
Okay.
And then you have a whole scouring of the Shire, like 12 issues where Rom is just like flying around space and finding out that every other Space Knight has just like gone insane and is evil now because they like war just ruined their minds. It's great.
Wow. All right.
Let's talk about Superman.
I'll have to come over to your house. Let's talk about Superman. All right. So the Superman script, I already at my first note I had about it was, and this is a thing I think is probably still readily available if anybody else wants to read it. The version that I read was literally like just reading exactly what happens in the movie, but there was like a little bit of insight on some of the places where it's like, oh, that's exactly what he was going for there. And then there are like little things where it's like, oh, This is like, that's where someone got to get a word in different, or like this is like what do they call it? There's some phrase for that when like a script is like where the dialogue is like, it's something like script perfect or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like you have to, there's no room for, the director wants every comma in there, or the writer or whatever, or if it's a writer director especially, he's like, no, say it exactly like I wrote it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's how James Gunn is, but it certainly seems like that might be the case from how few instances there are of, it's like, I can hear the delivery of every one of these lines in this script.
Yeah.
So I am, but there was interesting, it did raise some new questions where I was just going, what is he getting at with this? Or like, what does he think of this character? Like where it gives you like a hint of something in like the stage directions or like the description that then doesn't get elaborated on in the movie.
Yeah.
Where
I have some guesses about characters who you're thinking of, and I'm just excited
I can't wait
to see
hear
where you're going.
I can't wait to hear. Oh, I'm not even necessarily like I've got something specific in mind.
Yeah.
But I'm very curious to hear. Why don't you talk about all of the things that were in the script that you read that were not in the actual movie?
Okay. Yeah. So the script I read is dated October 2023. And then, so I had that script and then the script that is more widely available that James Gunn posted. And so I was essentially flipping back and forth between the two of them. I would read up until like I would catch something. I'm like, this is not in the movie. Like this line is different than it was in the movie. Let me check and see how it goes. And so flipping back and forth, I read them both kind of simultaneously.
I think I can only think of one example of there being a line in the script in the one I read that was not in the movie. And it was Perry saying, here, let me proof it. When he's wanting to proofread the article that they're writing about Lex that undoes him, that defeats him.
Yeah. So script the older script, when we're in the Daily Planet, you're introduced to the Daily Planet with the TV, and it's Michael Ian Black, doing his shtick.
Clevis Thornwaite.
Yes, Clevis Thornwaite. Script one.
I loved getting to know that all these people had names, very specific names.
I also have a list. I tracked down every comic character that everybody in the Lex lab is named after.
All right,
because like I'm seeing first and last names. I'm like, that's got to be somebody. So I have a list of that, but we'll get to that in a minute. So in the original script, or the earlier script, Clevis Thornwaite is interviewing Guy Gardner in that, like, which would have been Guy's intro into the movie.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Guy's first line in the movie is, I don't think it's right for folks like us to get involved in political situations, but as a Green Lantern, I took a vow not to be judgmental, even when somebody does something as stupid as Superman did.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
That's a good, that I could see that have being a fun thing, but I don't think it improves over the way that we are first introduced to him.
Yeah. And
every one of these we should decide if we think they should or should have left it in, or if it was better that they took it out.
I think they made the right choice almost every time.
Okay.
Both scripts do open early with the walking through the snow and Superman looking around and seeing all the mangled kaiju and saying to Krypto, you need to stop killing abominable snowmans.
No, that was not in the one that I read.
Then we have 3 copies of this script.
Okay, because that was like literally I was expecting to read that part, and then it wasn't in there.
Yeah,
and I was like, so this must not be the older one.
Oh yeah, no, that is in both the ones that I have.
Wow,
this is fascinating.
Well, I feel like we got these from the same place. Yeah, I'll send you this one, and you can. You got to send me those other 2.
I definitely will. So a lot of it is just like removing 1 or 2 words from like a line. And it's so interesting to see like what are the things that were either like too much or like not quite right. So in script 1, Lex is telling everybody about the engineer when he's in that meeting, and he's telling everybody about Ultraman and yada, yada, yada. And he says, a former special operative whose blood is composed of microscopic machines called nanites, which can form into anything she can imagine. And then he goes, I made that shit. And then they cut I made that shit from the next.
That was the right. I think that was the right call. Oh, wait. There is a part in this scene in mine where the line about they got this. What's this kryptonite stuff called?
Oh, yeah.
The part where the dumb guy, senator or whatever, whatever his role is, secretary, the one that says that part in the one I read was a little bit longer. Like, he takes a little bit longer to get that out. And I was like, the way it was in the movie was better.
Yeah. In the big argument scene between Superman and Lois, when he is talking about having put the president of Baravia up against a cactus, and Lois, and he's like, they were small needles, and Lois has a little aside that gets cut that goes, says the man with invulnerable skin.
Ooh,
which is nice. Yeah. And they also cut out that Baravia has their own raptors. So the raptors that Lex Luthor is like using all the time, like in this earlier draft, whenever they're describing stuff happening in Baravia, like they have a squad of Baravian raptors that then kind of got removed from everything.
Okay, that's fine.
Here's a big change. This one was the one that floored me, and I'm like, I can't believe that it wasn't here originally. Clark's people were going to die. Big moment when they're having their fight. First draft, just have they were going to kill people with a period. No exclamation point, no emphasis, just they were going to kill people.
Now, I could see how I can imagine how he could play that line in a way that has like punch without being like explosive like that, about like a big expression. But wow, but
that's, to me, the explosiveness very different. Is like what defines this version of Superman.
Yeah,
that like passionate feeling.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
And then,
but it's also it's one of the things. It's like you see throughout this. I mean, and from seeing the movie as many times and listening to the commentaries and all the things we've read that James Gunn has said about it and everything, knowing that at this point, how uncertain Lois still is about him.
Yeah.
Like, she likes him. She's attracted to him. But she's like, she's still like, I'm not 100% sure this guy is for real. And it's like him having that big where it's like, he's clearly like, he's not yelling at her. Like he's mad that she's questioning him. It's like, he's going like he's saying it like, don't you understand? Like,
this is something I care so deeply about. I can't be calm about it.
And you see in that moment, it's like, she doesn't like bristle at him being loud at her or anything. Yeah. She's like, I'm seeing how much, like, you can tell she's such a good actor. It's like you can read it registering on her face that like, okay, I see what the important part of this is to him.
Yeah.
Like, where I think that is a moment that is sort of central to like how the movie ends with them, where they are at the end of the movie, where it's like through the course of this movie, we get to, because we see the I love you moments, but it's like, you literally get to like, we get to watch what transpires. This is really like, the movie is really like the origin of their relationship, or their love, not the relationship, but their love.
Yeah.
And it's like, which I know is something that's on your list. Yeah. That's on your list. And it's like that's such a crucial turn for her, where it's like, that's like the combination to her trusting fully, like going, oh, this really is who he is. That's like the first tumbler that falls on the combination for the safe into her heart. Like, that's the first one. That's the first click.
Well, it's so interesting. Reading this script made me realize, like, I've read a number of scripts of movies that either never got made or, that I've just been interested in. And like reading this script made me realize, like, I really need to reframe how I read, like how I take in a script when I read it, because like I don't know if I were to have read this script and this movie never gotten made, I don't think I would have walked away thinking it was nearly as good as the movie is.
Yeah, there's so many,
like there's so much stuff that is so performance dependent that it's crazy to me. I'm just like,
this is
I gotta reread stuff.
Yeah, this is jumping way ahead. It's sort of like when you read a script, you've got to try to imagine the best possible outcome of everything you're reading.
Yeah.
But there's like, this is jumping like way ahead, but it's like, think about how like one of the most memorable scenes in the movie, one of the most talked about, things, one of the things people just absolutely loved was the Mr. Terrific 5 years time fight sequence. And the way that fight sequence is described in the script is literally just Mr. Terrific then has a fight scene that can only be described as groove foo by how he like it's a combination of he something like classical or not classical like very like smooth pugilism, and then like doing stuff with the T-spheres.
Yeah.
And it's just, that scene is like a whole big to do. And in the script, it's one line and you're just straight off to the next thing. And then Lois's line at the end of that does not read nearly as like what you're supposed to get out of it.
Yeah.
But of course, this is also like James Gunn. He knows it's like, he's not going to try to sit there. And I like that there was some parts in this where he was going, and then Metamorpho just starts kind of, it's unintelligible after a point because I don't know how you make a sun. Like he put stuff in there. It's just like, look,
that's not in either of mine.
What?
Man,
wow. Okay. All right. Well, we get to swap. We get to swap. Okay. But there's a part in there. Yeah. So when Metamorpho's trying to make the sun, he goes, and it's describing it exactly like you see in the movie, where his fingers are like this and the individual strands are coming together. And he's saying, and he's like, all right, helium, deuterium, blah, blah, blah. Like he's saying all of those things. He's like, and then the parentheses, like, and then his voice trails off because honestly, I don't know how you make a sun. And it's like, there's so much stuff in there where it's kind of like you can tell he's going like, oh, the people that I work with that are the ones who actually know how to put together a fight scene will figure out how to make this really cool. Or the special effects guys will come up with something. Or it's like when he's describing the river pie, which they never say that that's what it's called, but I knew it was called that from the soundtrack. And I was like, oh, that's funny. I mean, there's no way to really push, wedge that into the movie somehow. But there's a line where it says, Superman falls into the flow of the most dangerous integers this side of the Triangulum Galaxy. And what a sentence. But it's also, it's like all of that stuff in there where he is describing things. It was so interesting to see the parts where he describes something and then you go, oh, someone brought that to life in a prop or a set or whatever. And then there's other parts where you can tell he's going, I don't know. It'll be something like this. The artist will figure out a way to make this make sense. Make these words that I'm saying, or or the fight choreographers. I mean, but the way that some of the stuff where you're going, oh, that was such a cool thing. And it's just like the script, you'd have no idea reading the script how incredible that was going to be, because the script's not going, and then the Superman score swells. Yeah. But he's hearing all of this, even though he doesn't know what the music is going to be yet, because the guys doing the score have not done the score yet. He's hearing something.
I think this is the advantage of being a screenwriter who is also the head of the studio.
Yeah.
He's writing this knowing that it's going to get made. He's not writing this like, I don't have to sell somebody on this vision.
Yeah, he's in a unique position of making a script where it's like, you could, if someone else had to write this script, I think it would read a lot. Probably it would spell a lot more stuff completely out, but he knows he's got this all in the back of his mind somewhere. He has all these answers, and the stuff he doesn't have answers for yet, he's going, we'll figure this out once we get the set built and I see what it's going to look like. Or like, but also thinking about, he's writing this script with none of these people in place.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's not even picturing, like, I was reading this the whole time, just like picturing everyone doing everything and imagining how the camera's going to move. And there's like so little of that. Even in other scripts I've read, I feel like you, especially like if it's something that's like a director script.
Yeah.
I feel like you get a lot more sort of camera direction in there. Not necessarily like every shot, but it's like there's more in it. I was surprised at how like just this, then this, then this, then this, you know, like, but I guess that's the benefit of when you've got a guy who knows he doesn't have to like sell anyone on it.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no. So we get an Abominable Snowman callback as Eve takes a selfie with them. Like they're they, between the two drafts, they cut the line of engineer punching Crypto, which I guess got added back in maybe as a kick because it was shot, it sounds like.
Well, I thought it was in the that they cut the scene of Ultraman punching Crypto.
Oh, sorry, I said engineer, but I meant to say Ultraman, yeah. Just a thing
I thought you were saying like maybe there had been another scene in the fortress where when they first get there and she does that.
Oh, I think that's where the Ultraman scene was going to be.
Oh, I thought the Ultraman punch was in at the end when he and Superman are fighting.
No, because later Eve has a callback that gets changed, obviously, but she's like, also Lex had a guy kick a dog, and Jimmy's just like, what the fuck? When she's talking
in my script,
yeah,
I think in the movie it says he. What does she say in the movie? Because in the script I read, she said he tortured a dog.
Yeah, something
yesterday.
like that.
But I think it's a little different in the, like it's toned down. It's not tortured. I think it's like he hit, or I don't know. I can't quite. remember.
What is the line? But
it just seems a little less
direct callback in the script versus that like kind of nebulous. Both of the ones I have Guy Gardner having a gold tooth.
Yes. Okay. This one did it mentioned him having a gold tooth too. And I was like, did we just never see his teeth enough to know that he's got a gold tooth? And there is like, there's a picture, there's some like behind the scenes footage in one of those special features where it's got him with a different haircut in the outfit. I was like, and I think there's a point in that where he's got the gold tooth, but I had completely forgotten about it till I read that in the script. I was like, wait, did I see that? It makes sense. It seems like it would have been a cool addition for him. I'm happy to rewatch it and just pay attention to his teeth.
This is a good change. There was originally a shot of Superman walking through the LexCorp hallway before he kicks in the door asking where Crypto is. I'm just like, why did you put this in here? Like,
that's definitely not in my script, but that's also something where I'd go, yeah, you definitely don't need that. And the way it reads is like very fun.
Yeah.
That way. But part of me goes, it would be a few more seconds of Superman in the Superman movie. So I might like that.
Well, it's interesting. Almost everything between the two scripts I read is like a cut. Like very little was added between them. The one thing that I think I noticed is when Lex does his like little aside when he's like pretending to not know what Crypto is. And he's like, oh, ugly dog and a kid. Like that was added in the second draft, his little ugly dog in a cape.
Okay. Yeah, it was definitely in the one that I had.
Yeah. I think we both see this when you were talking about like the way Gunn will occasionally throw in like things for the reader when he calls the T-Craft the T-Mobile.
Yeah, the T-Mobile, and then it's like,
and then in parentheses, whoops, let's call it the T-Craft instead. I thought that was a good joke.
Yeah, that was good. There's a couple fun ones in there like that. Let me ask you this, because this is a question that, like, just in reading this, I finally had the time to like stop, and I've wondered it every time I watched the movie. Now, do you drink coffee?
Yeah,
I don't drink coffee. I never have. I don't really know anything about coffee.
I didn't until I married Danielle. So
Lois, part where Lois is talking about she adds so much sugar to the coffee to try to cover up the taste of petroleum. And I don't know what that means in regards to coffee. Does coffee taste like oil? What is
I think it's just
what is
yeah, it's like
what is being said?
It's an old-fashioned way to refer to coffee, like because coffee's very bitter and it's like sludge-like sometimes, and I think that's just the.
It is.
Well, it shouldn't be, but
I don't know. I have no idea. It's like you could have said anything right then, and I'd be like, "Well, he knows what he's talking about." I don't know.
I think that's just an old-fashioned way to refer to the taste of coffee.
Is that right? It's not that they're saying that. I thought that there was some kind of thing. I was like, where is petroleum involved in the making of modern coffee?
Yeah,
no, I was like, I was seriously trying to go like, where's, and I was like, well, I guess it maybe I don't drink coffee, so I have no idea what that means. If anyone has got an opinion contrary to Jacob's, though, please write in and let us know.
Tell me more.
Because I would like to know.
I'm not a coffee expert.
If it's just that, that's like a thing of like, I like the cut of your jib. And it's like, what's a jib? I was like, oh, that's old sailor slang. Like the, if that's the case, then great. That's a question taken off the board for me. But I've wondered that every time that I've seen this movie.
There's one. Honestly, most of the cuts I would say are good. There was one joke that did make me laugh that they cut where Lois calls the T-sphere a T-circle and he starts complaining about that. But then Mr. Terrific has a line where he goes, "You might as well call them flatty rounds." I liked that. That was a good joke.
That's pretty funny.
I was trying to picture the movie. Both of these scripts, to me, describe Superman as like becoming emaciated when he's struck by kryptonite.
Oh, yeah.
Like that it makes him skinny. And then like when it moves away, like he bulks back up. That's not something that really happens in the movie, right?
No, he looks bad.
He looks bad, but it doesn't look like he like got small.
He looks bad and he looks in pain. Yeah, but it doesn't look like it's having a. Well, they also saying in the script they describe it as that way that it looks like he's got the kryptonite poisoning. They describe it as being like green on him, and then in the movie it's all black. So I was like, there's only like tiny little things changed throughout. Like we're here and there where there's things where it's like, oh, they tweaked that just a little bit or they changed it, but it's like for the most part everything really does seem to go just exactly like he wanted, which is fine by me because I love this movie. But that's
I guess they're picturing like Frank Miller's Dark Knight Superman where he's all
emaciated
bony.
And bony. It would seem I've never seen. It was probably for the best that they did not make him. I mean, because they did still make him pretty gross looking. Like I think that read as what the effect. He doesn't need to be changing size too much. Like that would probably been a bridge too far.
Yeah, Steve Rogers him.
Yeah, like it's enough that you get the idea. He looks miserable. His acting sells it better than CGIing him. But also with that, like the way that suit is built, like it has like such sort of shape to it. Yeah, I think it probably would have been hard to make it read as him getting smaller. If he was in just like a Christopher Reeve style suit, you could pick. Oh, but of course, remember also James Gunn has not. The Superman suit has not been designed yet. There's nothing in the suit in the script that describes what his suit is going to look like. Everything just reads like, you know what Superman looks like. There's never any moments describing like Superman appears, his blue suit with red, like everyone, like it just treats it like, of course, you know what Superman looks like. He's going to look like Superman. But it's interesting. Oh man, you know what was not in mine? There's like no kind of like mention of it. And I could see this being a thing where it's like, oh, that was a thing that then the day of they were like, oh, look at how well he's getting along with all these kids. Like we'll just have them come running up to him. And because in the script, it does not describe it like that. It's just that the Justice Gang is saying their little thing about, all right, folks, blah, blah, blah. And then the news thing happens. It also doesn't have the part where earlier in that scene when the kaiju has shown up and Superman's trying to get the dog to move and then he goes under the ground and then he's burrowing like Bugs Bunny. It describes all of that, including a part where it says a little girl sees that happening. and then
Mhm.
Superman flies out. But it's also, that's crazy because that's like such a great moment where it's like, it doesn't mention that the girl like sees him explode up out of it, and the
Yeah.
Superman music swells, and she's like, "Hooray!" and like all of that stuff.
I gotta
And
watch
then
this movie again.
it's, oh man, yeah. It was such a boost to my week every time I was reading this and like getting to the moments, because I was just like, I felt even more immersed in it, because it's like, oh, it's only how it's playing in my mind, and I just feel very in the middle of it in a way that maybe even you don't get from just watching the movie. Or at least me, I don't know. Maybe I've,
Yeah.
I don't know, but like reading something is just different,
Yeah.
like how your brain, but when it's something that I've seen as many times as this, so it's like really feel like I'm living in these moments, but I'm controlling how fast we're switching from one to the other. But
Yeah.
that it says in the script, the way it reads though, is just Superman flies out and punches the monster. And that's it. Whereas in the movie, he flies out and the kid's like, hooray, yay, Superman. And he flies up and he comes by and he does a cool thing when the camera swooshes around him to really show the S, and then he swoops in, like towards the monster, and then, punches it as the Superman music and all of that stuff that doesn't get explained. And it's like, yeah, he doesn't know what this monster is going to look like yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what Superman's going to look like yet.
I think that scene
but
has
again,
all of my favorite like Superman action stuff in the movie.
That
like
part?
that, and that the whole kaiju scene. Like
Go on.
when I think about this movie, like showing how Superman powers work and how he fights, and like all of my favorite beats, I think, come in that kaiju scene. Maybe the baseball field fight a little bit, but like I think those two, I think, really do a great job.
And how so? Or like what's the stuff you're talking about specifically?
Like,
also, in the one you read, does it say, because it's a little different how he hits after the hey buddy, eyes up here.
Yeah.
What he does in the version that I read, it says he just goes up and then like comes straight back down at him like feet first.
Yeah, that's
not like
also
a cannonball.
That I mean that was actually the beat that I was thinking. Like I think part of it is just like it's the most like you get to see Superman flying around Metropolis and like saving people and like doing Superman stuff. Like Hammer Bravia fight, he's just getting his ass kicked. When he's fighting Ultraman, like they're up in space, they're in like a sewer. It's not like as I'm flying up around the buildings doing cool stuff. But that beat where he flies into the sun, the kaiju can't like squints because he's in the sun, and then he comes down as like a Superman cannonball alone. It was like worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
You want to know a weird change? Not a weird, but a small change that I forgot to mention from that sequence is the exploding propane truck changes from a boy to a girl between the two drafts.
Oh, interesting. Fair enough.
You just go, I wonder what conversation spawned that.
Yeah. Exactly. What prompted this change? Because anytime there's something like that that's like a very minor change, but it is like, and I mean, not necessarily important, but it is like, oh, that's a difference.
Yeah.
That's a change was decided on. It does make you wonder why.
Yeah, because
what conversation
so little
was had.
changed. Those are the moments where
when there's
like,
a little thing, it jumps
happened.
out at you. Yeah. Some conversation was had.
There's a bit it's funny, between the two drafts, he cuts the introduction to this concept, but accidentally leaves like a reference to it in a later description.
Go on.
So Mr. Terrific is established as Jonathan Kent's favorite superhero.
Oh, that would have been, because it has the part where it says he's like fanboying about.
Yeah, in the description later, it's like he looks at him with like pride or something like that. And it's like, yeah, because there's a line where they're talking about like superheroes, and apparently Pa Kent goes, black fella? And they're like, yeah. And then Ma Kent's like, Mr. Terrific's his favorite.
There's like a thing in the one I read that it's like when the T-Sphere shows up in Smallville to be like, you've got to get here. There's like a line that says something like Pa Kent is fanboying with excitement at the sight of the T-Sphere, and I was like, okay, but there was no earlier reference to anything like that, so I was just like, oh, okay. It didn't really seem like he was so excited to see the T-Sphere in the actual movie. So I was like, oh, well, all right, that's a difference. Also, the script did let me know the whole time every time we've seen this, I was wondered what Superman was eating in that bowl when Pa Kent comes out there. And I always assumed it was cereal. And I was like, I wonder what cereal Superman's eating. But then in the script, it says he's eating oatmeal. And I was like, oh, well, of course. That makes more sense than he's eating cereal. Oatmeal's yeah. And I was like, okay. But I was like, now I know. It was something I had wondered. I was like, what cereal do they have on hand? I'm a big cereal fan. I don't know if we've talked about that.
Has there? All right. So there was the Man of Steel cereal from Batman v Superman, I think.
There sure was.
Have there been other Superman cereals? What?
Yes.
Go through all the Superman cereals. I feel like you've got to know this.
So in 2006, when Superman Returns came out, they partnered with Life cereal, which was that's a choice. And
was that the little red? Was it red little pentagons?
I'm trying to remember. There was more than one flavor.
Okay.
And I think that there was like one that was maybe, I guess I could look this up.
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. Yeah.
What a box. Superman's not even on the damn thing.
He was certainly on. There's more than one. So.
Oh, okay. All right. I see that. The first one that comes up just has that like weird Superman Returns S and just says Life.
Yeah. It's like a silver box, gray or silver, and it's got the S just big on it. And then there's another one. I'm not looking at anything, everyone. This is just, I had boxes of this on top of my fridge unopened for so long. And I think the other one's blue. Or I think there's a blue one that's got him on it, and then I think there's a white one, or maybe I'm.
So he's also on a box of normal Life, but there's a Brandon Routh Superman like flying up in the air.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm thinking. I'm putting it together as, but
yeah, there's a white one too.
Yeah. Okay, my story checks out,
and it's Life with Superman shield, hollow Superman shields with Life. That is a weird combo.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and with the BVS ones, though, it was like there was a Superman cereal and a Batman cereal where it was like Superman's chest on the box and then Batman's chest on the box. And I think the Superman one was like strawberry something, maybe.
I think it was like a caramel.
Oh, yeah, it was something. I think I'm mixing it up with. Not too long ago, they did Superman and Supergirl oatmeal.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
This would have been after BVS, but before now. And they were terrible. It was just like, tasted like, fruit chemical. I mean, because of course I had to buy some.
Yeah. I did the same exactly. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm also looking. Apparently there was a limited edition Superman Crunch with Superman Returns. And it had the same Superman emblems, but they were made of Cap'n Crunch, and they turn your milk blue.
Send me this.
Okay.
Immediately. Send me this link, this image you're seeing immediately.
I'm doing it right now.
Because I've got to check this out. I can't decide if this sounds familiar or not.
All right, I just texted that to you.
Is this just the kind of thing I would dream about? All right. Let me take a look at this. I do remember this. I did have some of this, I believe. Or at the very least, I had this picture saved in my Superman folder on my phone. This seems like the kind of thing, too, though, where I'm going like, was this maybe one of those things where it's like we didn't get it in America?
That's also what I was looking at, because I'm like, that's such a weird Cap'n Crunch logo.
It's in ounces, though, which makes me think it would have to be in America, maybe. It doesn't say something like Superman Returns only in cinemas that tip you off that it's from the UK or something.
Yeah.
I sure would have eaten some of that if I had ever seen it. I don't feel like I would have, because I like the Oops All Berries, Crunch Berries. Is like possibly my favorite cereal.
You know what I say about that? It is a more Oops All Berries is a more effective short story and shorter than Baby Shoes Never Worn. It's the only serial title that's also a narrative.
Oh, wow. I don't know if that holds. I bet there probably are some other because there are definitely some weird serial names out there, but I don't think I would be scared to definitively state that, but
Okay.
wow.
Yeah.
It is a narrative. Wow. That's interesting. Well, yeah, so there you go. And
what's your favorite
if there's
Spider-Man cereal?
My favorite Spider-Man cereal, probably the Ralston one from '94. That was
baby.
the marshmallows with
Yeah.
the web oat webs or whatever, corn webs.
That's
Life
the
cereal
correct
shaped like
answer.
webs.
Yeah.
Is there another Spider-Man cereal?
There was a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man cereal that was like red and blue.
I do not remember this at all. Oh, wait a minute. From the first movie?
Yeah.
There was that was a great time seeing just Spider-Man on every conceivable thing.
Why didn't we get a Superman cereal for this movie?
Yeah.
I can't believe there's not a Ralston like Superman cereal from the 80s, you know? Like I just
yeah.
I would
surprised.
picture like that Garcia Lopez Superman on the box, just like
yep. The there was Superman on like I want to say he was on like Cornflakes box at some point probably like in the late 70s, early 80s. I feel like that's a thing somewhere because it's like my brain just immediately starts going cross-referencing Superman and cereal. What comes to mind? And
he has a long relationship with Pep.
Oh yeah, that's
Kellogg's
right.
Pep, the radio show.
Maybe that's
TV
what I'm
show.
thinking of. But that's but that's from the 50s. I feel like I'm picturing one that's like something from the Christopher Reeve era.
Yeah.
But yeah, why isn't there a Superman cereal right now? Why can't I have Superman cereal every morning? Why have they not been catering specifically to me?
I was trying to remember why we were talking about cereal, but it's because Superman's eating oatmeal at this point.
Because he's eating oatmeal, yes.
All
right. What else is different in your
There's
version?
a nice description of Pa Kent that I just like. Pa nods. He thinks a moment. He's a thoughtful man. Never speaks just to be heard. I like that.
Yeah, I liked that. And
I also like that they call the TV the box.
Yeah. Something on the box. I also caught myself doing the thing. I don't know if you do this. And I probably wouldn't do this with everything, but with this, it'd be like if I was reading the script for the first Superman movie, or I'm sure there was a point where it's like, as my heart was getting bigger, as reading this, as we're getting closer to the Superman, to the Superman triumphant of it all. I started like, just kind of like under my breath as I'm reading it, like acting the lines, like the way that they do in the movie, like just kind of saying it to myself, the way, putting the inflection on it, the way that it is in the movie. That's speaking of, that's something in the movie where towards the end, that speech he gives to Lex, I'm as human as anyone else speak, that's my greatest strength, that speech. I was expecting that to be like a little bit different in this, because there's a bit in the behind the scenes where we see that has like a couple extra lines that they took out, and those lines weren't in the version I read. So I was like, oh, maybe those were like improv, or maybe, but is it different in the one you read?
No, I had that same exact experience. I was like looking between both scripts. I'm like, these both track from what I remember in the movie. So I don't know. Maybe there's an additional script. Maybe they edited these before they were. I don't know.
I want to know what all of these omitteds are, because some of them are in like interesting spots where I was like, so there was going to be something between this and this. I wonder what it could have been.
I know. So, I mean, generally they leave those in so that like scene numbers don't change. So like when you're, that way when you're working with your crew, you can always be like, scene 175. It'll always be the same like location.
Yeah.
But it does. There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's and certainly in the one that I read, there were a whole lot of them. And I was like, I'm so curious. One crazy thing that I was like, couldn't believe was not in this script. Also, not a crazy thing, but it's crazy to me now because it's like part of in my head, this is just in the movie now, is the part with her coming in to look at him before she leaves. And saying,
it's in
like,
mine.
All right. Well, okay. I got to read this other one.
I'm sorry, man. Yeah,
I'm excited to now. I've got another way to interact with it, but it's like that line is just, that part is just so perfect, and I cannot believe it's not in the movie.
Yeah.
And
I'll figure this out.
I was thinking about this
I'll
the other
get you
night.
out of this. She leans over and kisses his forehead, caresses him, and leaves.
Oh, that they shot it too. It's not just in the script. They shot it, and it's almost like I could see them taking it out because even though the movie still does this, but it's like, to me, it's just like such a it galvanizes that it's like, this is just as much like, it puts her like saving the day as like she's on equal footing with him.
Yeah,
she and Jimmy figuring this out is like,
I wonder if there was a concern that I don't think is warranted, that is resolving the tension, the like romantic tension between the two of them too early in the, like, they want their big kiss at the end of the movie to be where they're both on the same page. But I think him being unconscious keeps it fine.
Yeah, but I could see them thinking, I could see that being a way to look at it. If you're going, we really want to save it for that big swell moment of they come back together, and it's like the way that they describe, even though it still just plays exactly like how it happens in the movie, seeing it written down, for whatever reason, I was like, the best way I can put this is that it just was like, it made it even cuter to me thinking about it, of like how excited she is to see him, and like how he's like also so excited, but it's like he doesn't know how to, like, that it describes his acting as being kind of bad.
Yeah.
I Miss Lane thought maybe I could give you an interview, like that. It's describing that, like, oh, they're so excited to see each other that they're both being like, he can't act good, and she is like having to try to contain how excited she is to see him, and that it's like, it's all of the tumblers have fallen into place for their relationship to, it's not just like for that now it's the payoff of all of those for both of them for it. What a good movie.
This would have caused maybe even more discourse than has already been caused about this plot point. But in the T-Craft, when they're like talking about all of the things that Luther was behind, they're like, oh, Luther's behind, he was behind everything that's been happening. The Hammer of Baravia, the invasion of Jarnpur, yada, yada. There's a line where they go, and the message from Superman's parents. And then Perry goes, was that faked? And Lois goes, who cares? And Jimmy's like, yeah, he's clearly here for good. But like, the implication, like, the script is still very clear about like, this is a very real message. But like, I feel like if by having Lois Lane have a line that says who cares, I feel like would have put some like gas on the fire of like, maybe it's not real.
Yeah, you're right. But, and it's funny because he does say like that he felt like he had already laid it out pretty clearly that it is real, and it doesn't matter whether it's real or fake, but it is real.
Yeah.
And that he said that they had to go back and like put that, make it even clearer. Yeah. No, we have Mr. Terrific say it. We have Lex himself say it. We, yeah. I mean, you're 100% correct though, that would have put more fire on, or more fuel on that fire.
Yeah. A very bad choice, I think, in the original script, and a good change when Ultraman's mask comes off and it's a clone of Superman. Superman goes, what the fuck? But it like fuck gets cut out. So like it's like, what the and then the scene changes.
Yeah. I appreciate them taking that out.
It gets changed to what the hell in the second draft. I couldn't remember what he says in the actual movie.
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Or it's like, I don't think it's like, it's more like he's just looking at him and he's like, hold on. Like, I could pull it up right here in the movie. But I'm pretty sure it's more like he just sees him, and it's like he sees him, and you read that on his face that his face is going, what the hell?
Yeah.
And it's like, and then Lex starts into saying what he says.
Yeah.
And that's all, exactly the same, at least in the one I read.
And then the biggest change the only change structurally between the two drafts is that, so originally in Jarhanpur, these scenes are taking place more like spread out through the climax while Superman is fighting Engineer and Ultraman. In the movie, they're all pretty like compressed into a single like beat. But
right.
in this version, originally when Lex is like, why are you so confident or whatever, and Superman's like, I called a friend. Yeah, he's like, I called my friends in the movie. In this, he says, I called a friend. And Metamorpho shows up alone in Jarhanpur.
Yeah.
And does
that's
like
a big change. Well, then how does that all play out?
So then, as the scene goes on, then Guy Gardner is introduced like later. Like they cut back to Ultraman and Superman fighting. They cut back to Jarhanpur, and that's when Guy Gardner rolls in. Mm-hmm. And then, but he's also alone. Like he's helping out Metamorpho, but there's no Hawkgirl. And we don't see Hawkgirl until you're in Gurkos's like mansion, and she flies in through and then kills him. So like each member of the Justice Gang is just like introduced almost like separately into that sequence.
So what happens with the kid with the flag?
So the kid with the flag, let me look. I have this here. I think the kid with the flag is just Metamorpho starts the sandstorm, and that like stops everybody from like shooting at him. But so it's interesting. In the Guy Gardner draft, he like covers him with like the little shield and has his little line.
So that in this one, it plays out the same way with Guy, like just like it is in the movie, basically.
Yeah.
But what's different, it still plays out the same as it does in the movie with like Metamorpho and Hawkgirl kind of coming in together. But the way that it and it all plays out like it does in the movie, the way that it describes Metamorpho is like, even though what is described does, you see what's happening in the description happen in the movie, but the way that it seems way more of a like, oh my God, this is what Metamorpho is capable of moment in the script. Where like, because it describes him as something like, he comes in like a sand, eventually forming into, he looks like a vengeful god of sand or something, and that moment happens so fast in the movie itself. And I was like, might have been, I mean, you still get the point.
Yeah.
But I was like, and it says it has the moment where he turns into he makes the big hammer to smash the tank. But just the way it's described is sort of like, you could tell it would have been spending more time and money on it.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just it doesn't have to, the movie's not about Metamorpho. You get the idea.
Both of my drafts have Hawkgirl saying "lol" before saying I'm not like Superman.
Which I mean, she still does. She like goes. She still does sort of laugh out loud, but she doesn't literally say "LOL."
Yeah, because I think Gunn describes her as being like Gen Z earlier on in one of the drafts, and
it did not say that in mine.
I think that was his like attempt to be like, yeah, this is what kids say.
Yeah, I'm glad they took it out.
Yeah,
I'm glad they changed it, and I was glad of that because I was like, she does it. She doesn't say it.
Yeah,
she actually does
laugh out loud. Yeah. And then really just two last things. First is that the post-credit scene of the buildings being misaligned happens in the body of the movie here. Like when that, like after everything is done, that scene happens here.
That was not in my script at all.
And then the last thing is that when Lois tells Superman, "I love you," it says he smiles with tears welling in his eyes, and then Lois calls Superman "Ol' mush." Just like,
aw,
it's
that's
cute, but I'm like, I could also see not
It
wanting
worked
to like, quote
perfectly.
your mom right before you kiss quote a guy's mom right before you kiss him. So
yeah, no, they did it perfectly in the movie where he don't even have to say anything. His face says it all. But it doesn't say anything like that in the one that I read.
Yeah. Love that punk rocker is mentioned by title in the script.
Yeah. You knew he had thought about that before he started writing the movie.
Yeah. But yeah,
but it's like, I mean, in the version I read, it doesn't even say that he smiles at her. It doesn't say anything about that. It's just, she says that, and then it goes to the next, whatever happens next. I mean, just because everything else was reading out so exact. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
no, I mean, that's all the beats I have.
I like that in the one I read, it says that the way that it describes, it didn't have anything about him getting his arm pulled out of his shoulder out of socket.
Yeah, I wrote this down. It's the entire like final fight between Superman and Ultraman is 4 sentences. Superman barely has time to catch his breath when he's tackled once more by Ultraman. Ultraman has the momentary upper hand. They fight, but Superman swings him into a falling bus, pulling Ultraman into a black hole. Superman lies there for a moment, recovering his breath. And then that's it. That's the entire like final battle of the movie.
Yeah, it didn't have any of that thing about him having to like really work at it to swing him over into it. But I like how it did have a thing in there where it says like without Lex's coaching, Superman then just is like immediately like just mopping the floor with Ultraman. And it's like you get some of that, but I did kind of like it going like, oh yeah, no, this guy could not do what Superman does, even though he's stronger and has all the powers. And
yeah, I did like that the script had exactly take your bald ass to jail.
Oh, that was another change in the one that Lex is in a lot worse shape in the script at that point from getting beaten up by Crypto.
Yeah.
Because it says he's like on a stretcher in like a neck brace and or like on a it's like he's like completely incapacitated. He's not just got his arm in a sling. He's like real beat up. Have you finished? I can't remember if we talked about it. Have you finished Peacemaker season 2 yet?
So I am on the final episode.
Okay. All right.
So I've watched a good deal.
You know where some of this is going then.
I know where some of this is going.
Yeah.
That's great.
Or some of my show. Oh, yeah, what a good show.
Before we close out, let me do the characters who are in LexCorp.
And I've still got one last thing.
You've got more.
Well, I've got technically I've got two notes about the script.
Okay.
And I was hoping that one of them was reading through this and the way that some of this stuff is presented, it did make me go at one point like, okay, so what is Jimmy's deal?
Yeah, that was my exact when you had said at the beginning of this, and I was like, let me guess who you're thinking. I'm like, it's got to be Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah. And where I was just going like, I was really thinking at some point we're going to get a little bit more of like Gunn's thoughts on him, because there is a little bit of stuff in there where I was going, okay, this is a little bit about like how he thinks about Lois.
Yeah.
He sees her as this, that, it's like constantly on guard, but like very unflappable though, like constantly looking out for trouble, or just like that, but you can't rattle her.
Yeah.
And there's a couple other things in there where he's like seems to be talking about where it gives you a little bit better idea of like, okay, this is how he sees her. And of course she's got a lot more to do in the movie than Jimmy does, so a little bit more about her through her through her words and actions. Yeah. But there was parts in reading this where I was going, okay, so what is the deal with Jimmy? As far as like I know what I think the deal with Jimmy is, but I was like, what does James Gunn think the deal with Jimmy is?
Does yours have the reference to him being like Pete Davidson like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think based on Gunn's like when he was making the music playlists for all the characters and everything, I feel like because of Jimmy's role in the story, he has a kind of one-dimensional, like, he's like, Gunn is forced to think of him kind of one-dimensionally, like,
just for lack of space.
Lack of space, and like, this is a character who, like, women seem to be attracted to him, but he is like non-committal. Like, I feel like every thought that he has about Jimmy is like surrounding that kind of topic, which is interesting.
Well, see, this is the thing. It's like, I'm reading this knowing that there's a whole TV show planned around Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
And it's like, knowing that they have the actor that they have for this role is also like a guy who's great.
Yeah.
And so I'm going like, okay, so where does he see all this? Because it's like, I'm going like, the fact that Jimmy seems to be like oblivious to like, it's, you can't tell if it's like he's oblivious to, he seems to be oblivious to obviously very attractive people's attractiveness.
Yeah.
Like, or like he doesn't see attractive people as attractive or something. Like there's something in there where the way it reads somewhere in there, and there's like some stuff in the movie too where you're just going like, I don't think it's like a thing like, or you could take it as like he is someone where it's like the Seinfeld thing where it's like he has to find something wrong with everyone to be like, okay, that's why I can't commit to this. She's got the weird toes, or
Yep.
She was a close talker, or whatever the thing is.
I think Gunn has gotten a lot better at this, but like, I think historically there has been issues of like unconscious sexism in his work. And I think the Jimmy stuff threatens to lean that way. I know at the end of the movie they had shot multiple versions of the Eve Jimmy hug, where like Jimmy's expression, like one is like, oh God, what have I done now? Which I think is like, I think that would be an ugly end, I think, for those two characters. I don't I think that is like, it robs Eve of dignity in a way.
Yeah.
And apparently Peter Serafian like really fought for Jimmy being like, you know what, this is nice. And like I love that, like I like that, and I think I think Gunn had said that he was like, he wanted to lean a little more towards the other direction, but had been like was convinced to do it this way, like kind of like with David Cornsweet, where it's like the better idea won out, but like my natural instincts were to like lean in this direction. And I think that's like, I think that's just like, almost like growing. I don't know. He's a grown man. I can't really say growing pains, but like,
well, no, but I mean, it's like sometimes you don't learn a thing until you learn it. You know, like sometimes it takes. Unfortunately, we don't always learn every important lesson that we need to learn about how to be, try to be a better person, or to even care about that kind of thing. Sometimes we don't all learn that, and until something happens that makes you learn an important lesson. I mean,
what I've always
I'm not trying to like, I'm not trying to
Guardians.
excuse it or anything.
Yeah,
it's like, because I know the stuff I know the kind of stuff you're talking about, and I was like, I understand why these things did not jump out at me necessarily, but then when someone else explains why something does hit them weird, I go, like in that first Guardians, I go, oh yeah, I see what you mean.
What's always struck me about that first Guardians, where it's like Quill is introduced as like a womanizer, and like I don't think Chris Pratt's performance sells me on a man who is a womanizer. Like he does not, like his like childlike glee at kind of existence. I think as someone who was like abducted when he was 10 years old, I think it would almost be a more interesting like take on that character.
I'm sorry, for a second I thought you were saying as someone who was abducted when they were 10 years old, and I was like, what? Oh wait, you mean Star-Lord. Okay, yes. Sorry.
Like I like the idea that like every relationship he's ever had, he has been like oh, this is like Disney romance. Like, I am in love with, like, I don't know, the kind of way that I viewed love when I was 10 years old, where it's like, oh, this is like permanent forever. And like, I think instead of that opening scene, because it doesn't really like come into play, but like that opening scene where he's like, oh, I forgot you were here. I have sex with so many women in my ship. I think it would be way more interesting and way more fitting to how Pratt is playing that role at that point, to be like, I love you. I've made you pay, and her to be like, whoa, hey, you're coming on pretty strong here. I don't know, that's just always been a take I've had on that movie, where I'm just like, I feel like that character is very well drawn, but I don't feel like the womanizer aspect of it fits in with everything else that I'm seeing and being shown about the character. I feel like that's just like, oh, well, that's how we do cool guys. So he's got to be like this.
Yeah, I could see. I certainly can see where you're coming from with this. I'm like, but it's one of those things again where I'm going like, and I'm not trying to argue with it, but I'm going like, yeah, I need to sit and think about this for a while. Because I can also see it, like I can also see it another way, because I'm going like, oh, this is sort of how it read to me, which was different than that. And I was like, and I mean, they don't explicitly, if they didn't explicitly say it in the movie, it's open to interpretation, which is really what all of this is about. That's why we're talking about all of this stuff.
I mean, I think the second movie where he like starts flirting with Elizabeth Debicki, like almost on instinct, because like that's what he thinks a cool guy in his position would do. That I buy more.
Mm-hmm. Wait, in the second, that's in the third one.
That's in the second one, where they're doing the battery exchange, and she's like, "Oh, your body or whatever."
Wait, no, because that's Adam Warlock's not until the third movie.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about Adam Warlock, but she's in the second movie
as the Gold Lady.
Yeah, she's like the main antagonist until we're revealed that Ego is the main antagonist.
And then also in the third one?
But yeah, she comes back in the third one, because the second one ends with the post-credit scene of Adam Warlock's cocoon opening.
Cocoon, yeah. You're right. I know you're right. But I was going like, wait, that's... Oh, yeah, because it's got the part where they're all in those like spaceships, in those like video game cockpits.
Yeah.
But that's the second movie?
That's the second movie, because the video game cockpits are all flying through Ego.
Yes, that is true. It's like, but those two movies have sort of been like mashed together in my brain somehow, but also extrapolated out to two different movies that are neither of the actual movies.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think is what I'm realizing just now.
I think because Gunn used the DP that like Guardians 3 looks so much more like Superman than it does the first two Guardians movies, because he used the Superman DP on it. Like, to me, it just like, it's so separated just from how it looks that like I can't even imagine combining it with the second one, because it's like,
it's been a while since I've watched either of those, and I loved them both, so it's like I don't it's not out of any malice or anything, but this does also kind of, what was the thing earlier we said we were going to watch tonight?
Superman?
There's something else we talked well, we're always talking about watching Superman. Wasn't there some other movie where I was going that I was like, well, I know what I'm watching tonight? Oh, the X-Men movies.
Oh yeah, X2.
Talk about the hair, the Rachel Lee Cook hair.
My other hot take, I like X-Men 1 better than X2.
Why?
I think X2 has higher highs. Like, I think the good scenes in X-Men 2 are better than the good scenes in X-Men 1, but I think X2 completely falls off the rails in the back half. It's just drab hallways over and over. There's not like, and like the big climax is like two unstabbable people stabbing each other for like 5 minutes. And I'm like, I don't really care. Like, it's cool how you beat Lady Deathstrike.
No, they are incredibly stabbable.
Well,
they're just not affected by it.
It's like, but like nobody else can. Like the first X-Men movie, I kind of like that. Like it still has one foot in that like Canon Films were making an action movie off of something kind of like the climax of the movie taking place on the head of the Statue of Liberty is like something you would read in like a 90s script, and like because it is a 90s script. The movie came out in 2000.
Yeah.
And so it's like I like that energy. You know, I like that it's the X-Men team is fighting a team of bad guys.
What else is going on at the end of the second one?
Not
besides
fucking much,
Wolverine
man.
and Lady Deathstrike are fighting. What's going on concurrently?
Nightcrawler has to teleport Storm into Cerebro so Storm can freeze out Mastermind.
Yeah.
Cyclops and Jean are fighting because Cyclops is possessed.
Yeah.
But like, you know, that's not like a climax of a movie scene. It's just like, you know, they have a couple of blasts and then they crack the dam. The big hook is that Magneto reprograms Cerebro and tells Mastermind to find and kill all the humans. So like most of the movie is just like mutants just kind of laying on the floor. I think that's everybody. Rogue's not doing anything. Like they're saving a few of the kids. Leech and not Leech, he's in the third one. Artie.
What's Gambit doing?
He was supposed to be in that, man. When I was a kid, because like they had apparently in the script it was supposed to cut to mutants all over the world convulsing, and Gambit was going to be one of them.
Oh.
But then we got Taylor Kitsch.
Which, see, I think that's like, he is like who I picture, like, I mean, not because of that movie. I mean, prior to that movie, if you just show me a picture of Taylor Kitsch, I would have gone like, oh, this guy's perfect for Gambit.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that movie, though.
X-Men Origins Wolverine?
Correct.
Oh, man.
I think it's the only X-Men movie I haven't seen.
Have you seen New Mutants?
Is that X-Men movie? I know that like
it's a Jace.
Licensing wise, but I was like, they don't ever mention the X-Men in it or anything because no, I haven't seen it either. But I was like, it felt like one of those things where I was like, this is not at all the same people or world or anything.
It took me a long time to see Dark Phoenix.
I would be happy to see New Mutants. I would watch it, even though
I don't know if I'd be happy to see it.
But man, I'll watch anything. I like movies. True. I don't care. Yeah. I'll watch terrible movies if they're fun. You know, if I can have a good time. Like, you've seen the kind of Blu-rays I buy.
Yeah.
You've seen the kind of Blu-rays and 4Ks I buy. I have so many movies, ordered directly from Vinegar Syndrome. Like, I do not watch exclusively good movies, but you know, what's a good time is a completely different question. But yeah, no, but X-Men Origins Wolverine, at the time, it was one of those things, like I didn't see it when it came out because it just looked like it was going to be so bad. And I guess I had some kind of scruples or I don't know what. I had some kind of thing at that point where I was like, oh, I'm not going to see that movie. It looks terrible. Like I was intentionally so like, they're ruining a thing I like. And then in the intervening
Amazing
years,
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, I had no problem seeing Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I'm trying to think now of like any of the movies like this that I haven't. Any of what superhero movies haven't I seen?
I haven't seen Catwoman.
I've seen that.
I'm not against it.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where I'm like, I feel like I probably watched like part of it just on TV and like part of it like it was on at a bar or something, you know, like that kind of a thing where I was like, I'm getting it.
Also, at that
it's not like I saw it in the theater.
I know that movie is technically licensed by DC Comics. But
yeah,
given that there is not a single connective tissue between Catwoman, the comic book character, and Catwoman, the movie character, can you even call that movie based on a comic book? It is based on the words Catwoman.
Yeah, it is based on the intellectual property of DC Comics.
It is based on the trademark of the word Catwoman.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like it's licensed as That's interesting. I mean, and it does make you wonder if it's like if it had just been like its own thing. No, it still would be bad, and
It's
people
so
wouldn't
funny
have even
that they're
seen
just like, all right, we're making a superhero movie for girls. It's got to be about evil makeup. It's like, guys, you can make the evil plan anything. Girls don't have to have evil makeup plans.
And yet, that's what the Clayface movie later this year is going to be about. It's evil makeup for boys. That's how much how much things have progressed.
That should be the slogan, the tagline for the movie. It's evil makeup for boys.
The movie. My one last thing about the script was that the script ends with possibly the two best sentence ending of a movie
Yes
I've ever seen, which is Superman smiles, the end.
Oh God, it's perfect.
I was just like, oh, this is how every movie should end like this. This is a perfect ending. Superman smiles and then the end. Perfect.
I mean, that was
like, I want to write a movie
before the movie came out. You're like, it's got to.
Oh, I know, but it's
Superman
like
smiling.
But like seeing it just written down like that for some reason was like, to see it where it's just like it doesn't over explain it, but it literally is just. I mean, and that's also the way that Superman the movie ends, which you could also say that the end of that script, which I don't know if it does, but it's like it seems like that script could also just end. Superman smiles, the end.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, so my favorite movies both end with the same thing. Not like I didn't know it, but it was just so, I don't know what it is that like clicked something different in my brain, seeing it in black and white on the page.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow, that's beautiful to look at. I took a screenshot and just cropped it down to just Superman smiles, the end. And I was like, what else do you need?
I really liked the early description of Clark Kent saying that he is twice as large and 3 times as polite as those around him.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me walk through these comic characters that are at LexCorp in the control booth.
Yes, please do.
We have Cheryl Kimball, who is introduced in Superman Aliens, the Dark Horse crossover.
Yeah,
and then weirdly
which is
enough,
great.
Became a big villain in Superman and Lois.
Oh wow! All right,
TV
interesting.
Show. I know. I'm like, I don't know if they were just picking names out of a hat. But Superman Aliens is good.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, absolutely. Have you never read Superman Aliens?
No, I would.
It's in my mind. Now it's been a while since I read it, but in my memory of it was one that I really enjoyed it, and two, it was also it was like a stressful read in a good way. Like I was pulled into the tension of the story.
All right, if I'm tasked with writing Superman Aliens, if Dark Horse reaches out to me, you know what scene I'm putting in there?
Please tell me.
Superman gets a face hugger. Chest burster can't make its way out, is stuck inside of it.
Just dies in there.
Yeah.
Because it can't get out.
Yeah, he just like poops it out later.
I don't think they're going to put that scene in the movie.
I'm just saying, that's I think about what makes an alien movie an alien movie.
Yeah.
It can't come out.
You definitely should read the comic then.
I would. It sounds good. We've got Dean and Desmond Farr. Do you know them? They are Tiger
well, I know
Man.
who they are in this. They're who?
Tiger Man, and they're both a character named Tiger Man, who apparently once fought Guy Gardner and appeared in like 28 issues.
Interesting.
We've got Larry Chin, who was Combatter from Post-Crisis Adventures of Superman.
Okay.
Happerson, who was in the Austrian.
Of course, Sidney Happerson. Yeah.
Obviously Otis. The reference. To
I started saving any picture. I like taking screenshots or just photos in the actual comics. Anytime Happerson shows up now in a Superman book.
Yeah.
Like, hey.
And then we got Miss Jessup, who showed up in Superman: The Black Ring, whatever that is.
That is Oh no, wait, is that what
Jason
it is?
Wright
I
and
think
Paul
that was
Cornell.
yeah. So that was in the middle of the brightest, around like the brightest day period.
Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah, and like it's the Black Ring was a thing that Lex was trying to find. I think it's the one where Death from The Dreaming shows up to talk to Lex Luthor at one point.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's the best I can tell you about it. I think at one point Lex Luthor has got an orange lantern ring in that story, if I'm remembering correctly. I could be wrong.
I can't with other color lanterns.
I can't with these comics. All right, well that's good to know.
I like
and
my death to be a skeleton with boobs. If I'm reading about a comic book death, I want her to be a skeleton with boobs.
Can't just be a goth gal.
A goth teen, yeah.
Yeah. Is she supposed to be a teen?
I don't know. I always assumed. I don't know why.
I think when that came out, she seemed so much older than me, who was a teen when it came out. Like I guess.
I mean, she
maybe
is death, so she is a lot older.
I don't know how it works and all that stuff. I didn't read any of that. I didn't read Sandman. I didn't read any of that Vertigo stuff. There's not enough superheroes. Well, it's cool that it's also a little weird to like go through the trouble of like pulling up these names of characters that like are something more than just a person working in Lex's communications hub.
Yeah. I remember.
I mean, Happerson is the exact same character.
Yeah.
But I don't think that those twins are going to become Tiger Man.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Yeah. What is the Shane Black and Drew Pierce, who wrote Iron Man 3 together?
Yeah. Yeah.
They talked about how like they just thought it was funny to like pull names out of the comics and just name random characters in the script after that. They were like, oh, we thought it'd be a fun nod for fans. And then like everybody kept getting like really mad because
fans do not like that.
I know they kept expecting them to like do stuff, and
yeah,
it's just funny. I feel like
I thought he was going to start using his lasers.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he just works at the gas station. Yeah, right? That's fun.
What have you got prepared for us?
Okay, so as you listeners, as you may recall, last episode we talked about the death of Superman, the comic event to end all comic events. Comic event that changed the world of comics forever, possibly for the worse. But after we did that, I said I'd love to hear any of you listeners' thoughts. If anything we said, prompted questions on what we thought, or made you want to go reread it and have some thoughts of your own that you wanted to share with us. My buddy Matt did just that at my urging, because I love hearing what Matt has to say about comic. I mean, guys, I'm happy to hear what any of you guys think about this stuff, but I've just talked to Matt about comics for a long time. So I'm like,
yeah,
I love hearing what he has to say about things. Same deal with Dan, and I told him the same thing, but so far he has not had Superman thoughts. I don't know if he's reread, but Matt did go back and reread it. And he said, number one, I'm not 100% sure, but I think The Death of Superman may have been the first trade paperback I ever owned. And I was going, let me think about that. Because I do remember it was like a trade paperback that you could get like everywhere. I saw it at the grocery store. He said, I can't imagine what I would have that would be older. I own it in a couple different formats, but the copy I happened to reach for to reread this time was that original one from the 90s. The trade paperback has a $4.95 cover price, which is wild, because that is less than what a lot of single issues go for now.
Yeah.
This edition has no foreword, no introduction, no backup materials. It's just the issues and that Bogdanov cover of Lois holding Superman's body. I partly reached for this one out of convenience. The newer edition with the funeral and return companion arcs is upstairs. And partly, I think, because I just wanted that older feel and felt tired of looking at screens. Man, that's exactly why I was reading it out of an omnibus that was the Death and Return.
Yeah.
And what's cool about that omnibus is that it's printed on that like paper that's like not old. It's not newsprint, but it's not the super like high gloss thick paper either. So it's like nice and crisp and white, but it's lighter than that. And it just has a different feel. It very much put me in a mind of reading the thing.
Yeah.
Back when it came out. I think that I don't think it would have. I'm trying to think of something that I had in a trade before that, and I'm sure there has to have been, but I can't bring one to mind. But then 2, it all holds up so well. The level of storytelling happening in the art is iconic and can still stand up against, if not surpass, a lot of what's on the stands today. Jacob's nodding.
I read this and I just go, where are comics today? I shouldn't say I've been feeling.
I've read some good stuff lately. We'd have to get into a different thing, but I feel like I've been reading some good comics lately from both current and I've also been reading some bad comics. It's comics where I'm going like, ugh. But 3, I remember having no idea. He says, I remember having no idea whatsoever what was going on with these monsters underground, and still don't really. Did you guys say that their presence there was something that carried over from a war world story or Panic in the Sky? I don't know if Panic in the Sky was involved, but it was definitely something like those monsters are still there from War World.
Yeah, I think that is correct.
I don't know if there was a Panic in the Sky connection, but it does say something about them. It's been so long since I read Panic in the Sky, I barely remember it, and it's probably one that I should go back and reread. But it's like, if but it's also something that's like, hey, that would probably be a good a good place to look, for something to read, and with it being Brainiac focused, it's probably something that might be good to read next year.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that Brainiac omnibus to come out so that I can read that and then finally crack open my Triangle one.
4, Matt says, everyone, even Lex, thinks Superman will win in the end. Superman will be just fine. Almost every major character except Lois repeats something to this effect, which reinforces how shocking it is to everyone for him to fall. And when we get to Funeral for a Friend, I remember there being some parts in that where it's like literally where they're just sort of like sitting with Lex and him being like upset that this has happened. Like that it wasn't him. Like he feels the hole in his life that Superman being killed by someone else would leave. Number 5, Roger Stern uses the thought bubble narration in his issue to have Superman theorize where the monster may have come from, including being a creation of the late Lex Luthor Sr. or something made by Cadmus Labs. I wonder if at this point they had developed much of Doomsday's backstory or if that was mostly figured out later. A good question. I mean,
that is a great question.
We'd have to ask Dan Jurgens and the rest of or Mike Carlin or some Louise Simonson, some of the other people. It seems like Jurgens
you
was
all
like
are
really
invited.
As long as no one invites Mark Waid, even though he probably does have the specific answers to this already, but still no.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mark. That is a good question though. I would like to know the answer to that. 6, because of the decreasing number of panels per page, the last 2 issues move really quickly. Once the fight makes it to Metropolis, it's over before you know it. Every page of these last 2 issues, especially 75, is seared into my memory. I remember trying to draw the page of him blasting Doomsday with his heat vision with Lois at his side when I was young because it was a personal favorite. And Matt, I'll tell you right now, I didn't reply to this when you texted me this, but I'll tell you, I remember photocopying that page at the library so I could have a copy of it that I could try to pin up to the glass door at my house and trace the Superman. I wanted to trace it because I wanted to get it so right. Yeah. That's how I would do, like, a lot of times I would trace something first, and then having traced it once, then I would just try to draw it again and again. And it was like, well, your hand has already done all of this. Now just copy that.
Yeah.
Like, which is why there's like a couple things from the early 90s that it's like, I like very specific characters and poses where it's like, I could probably draw this in my sleep.
Yeah.
Just because I drew it so many times.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there was Matt's thoughts. And folks, if you guys have got any, have you had any more, has the death of Superman or any of that been anything else with it come up in your mind since we talked about it all? After you had to listen to us talk about it all again, editing it?
Not that I can remember, man. I I'm just really excited to get to all the other parts of it. Like, I mean, I love Death of Superman, but like, man, I love me some Steel. I love me some Superboy.
Yeah.
Eradicator and Cyborg Superman, they're fine. But it's so good.
Man,
I love
that's
when they go into like, I love the Pa Kent like weird metaphysical issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, we could talk about it now. Do we want to do the funeral next?
Oh,
we still got a little bit of time before we're transitioning.
Like, Chris, no, 11:30 at night. I am not about
no, if
to
we've
talk
got
about...
Yeah, no. I mean for the next episode, we've got a little bit of time before we start transitioning fully into what our next phase will be.
You know, that it could make a lot of sense. Funeral for a friend, and then, you know, Superman's gone. So what do we have to talk about but Supergirl?
Exactly.
More like DC Comics and the reign of the Superboys that's coming up now in the comics.
And
right?
you know what? I think we could do Funeral for a Friend, and then there'd probably, by the time we were ready to do a one after that, there would be at least an issue or two of all of those Superboy. Maybe only one. I don't know when it starts. I think it's soon. I think it's pretty soon. I think it's this week or next week even. Or did it possibly start this week? I can't remember what came out this week, but yeah, I mean, that might be, we could do the funeral and then talk about how that's starting, and then that would put us at a good place to then transition over into Supergirl.
I love it. Let's do it. All right, so next month we're doing a Funeral for a Friend, baby. He's our friend. He's my friend.
Hooray! He's all of our friends. That bit it's still one of my favorite things related to the Superman movies is that interview that Christopher Reeve did. And I think this is like, I posted like the clip of this on Twitter years ago. And I think it's like probably the thing that got the most traction of anything I've ever posted anywhere, was just like, cause it's like got retweeted so many times. And, but the clip of them saying, somebody interviewing him, and it's like, what does Superman represent to you? Or like, what do you think he means? Why does he mean so much to people still after all this time? It's like, he's a friend. He's like, that's what people really need. He's not a cop. He's not there to scold you. He's there to be the friend that you need, regardless of how big or small the problem is. Or he's a real friend who is there for you. Yeah. And it's still probably the best, I think, explanation of of like, what's the deal with this guy? Like, what is he really about? But it's like he's a friend to the whole world. Yeah. He's the best friend you could possibly have.
Except for you.
Because he can take care of so much stuff. Oh, yeah.
He'd be really good at helping you move.
Oh boy, would he have that taken care of in a snap. Jacob, tell people where they can find you online.
Oh, fuck. They can find me online.
You don't have to. I mean,
no, find me. It's fine. Jacob_DeNoble on Twitter, and Letterboxd denoble.bluesky. Whatever on Blue Sky. Denoble.com is my website. mysummerwithsuperman.com is where you'll find show notes and images. That's all the hot spots. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm at the Chris Haley on everything, except the things that I'm not. But
if you have any Hawkman recs,
on those,
tell me what.
Send those in.
More Hawkman I should read.
I know somebody out there has got to have some interesting thoughts on Hawkman, or some like very specific. No, this is what you've got to read. Yeah.
He's an alien cop
Surely.
Who dresses like a hawk for.
You should. I do think you should check it. See what you think of those Brian Hitch ones, because I feel like I remember it reading like a good kind of modern take on something that feels sort of like the story still felt kind of Silver Agey, but not in a tongue in cheek way.
Yeah.
Not like trying to be campy or anything. Just fun. I mean, just like, oh, he's on a space adventure. Here he goes. He's Hawkman.
Does he talk to birds? Because they're constantly talking to birds in these Silver Age ones, and I'm loving that part.
I definitely do not think he talks to any birds, but I also
can't
remember. He may have just not gotten to it. I mean, he was in space. There was no birds around.
There's a bit where they're like, oh, the police commissioner's pigeons are here. Let's ask them what's going on with the case. I was like, fuck yeah. Hawkman, Hawkgirl, I love you guys.
Everybody was talking to animals back then.
I know. But, folks, I don't know. Tell a bird about the show. Tell your friends. Put on your best morning clothes. We're going to mourn our friend Superman next month.
That'll be what we're doing next. Jacob, thank you so much for hanging out with me here, for doing this, for doing all the hard work you do. Can't tell you how much I appreciate it enough. Love getting to hang out with you. This is the best.
It is.
Love having a reason to talk about Superman.
I can't wait till we start really amping things up for Supergirl time.
He's rubbing his hands together, folks.
Yeah, I'll do it right next to the mic so you can hear it. All right, folks. Stay super.